A few days earlier, a shy student finally gathered the courage to hand a letter to the girl he admired from the library committee. Back in his room, he lay on his bed and celebrated the achievement. While thinking about the future, he suddenly noticed an unusual sound nearby. Confusion replaced his excitement, and he quickly turned around. Something unexpected had appeared in the middle of his room, interrupting his peaceful moment. Standing before him was a large wooden door that had not existed seconds earlier. Strange energy surrounded it, making the sight even more unsettling. Caution gave way to curiosity as he moved closer. The mysterious entrance slowly opened, revealing darkness beyond. Before he could decide whether to approach or retreat, an unfamiliar voice urged him forward. Fear surged through him when a small demon-like girl suddenly appeared behind him. Startled by her sudden arrival, he stumbled away in panic. As his heart raced, he realized that the strange door and the mysterious visitor were somehow connected. A painful impact left Fumio lying on the floor of a strange enclosed space. Before he could understand where he was, the mysterious girl revealed that she already knew his name. Moments later, the girl introduced herself as Lily. Small horns and wings made it clear that she was no ordinary visitor. Although her true identity remained unknown, she openly claimed to be a devil who had appeared in his room without warning. Suspicion mixed with curiosity as Fumio watched her float effortlessly in the air. The impossible sight made it difficult to dismiss her claims. While he struggled to stay calm, Lily observed his reaction with amusement and waited for him to accept the situation. Instead of explaining everything immediately, Lily announced that she had come with a special purpose. Her visit was part of a campaign connected to devils. Confused by the strange statement, without giving him time to process the information, Lily moved closer and delivered an unexpected announcement. To Fumio's shock, he had been chosen to receive assistance from the Devil Army. Fumio immediately denied having anything special about himself. According to Lily, however, the Devil Army was not looking for ordinary talent. Their campaign focused on supporting selected humans whose abilities stood out in unusual ways. A serious expression appeared on Lily's face as she revealed the talent she had discovered. Rather than praising his kindness or intelligence, she declared that he possessed the potential to become a villain. The unexpected judgment left Fumio completely stunned. Strongly rejecting the accusation, Fumio insisted that he was not a villain at all. He pointed to his normal behavior and simple lifestyle as proof. Nevertheless, Lily remained convinced that his hidden aptitude surpassed that of ordinary criminals. Further explanation followed as Lily described the goals of the devil world. The more evil that existed, the stronger devils would become. Because of that, their organization searched for people capable of creating greater darkness. Ignoring his doubts, Lily finally presented her offer. She promised to grant him a special power and stated that he could use it however he wished. After hearing Lily's offer, Fumio asked what kind of power she intended to give him. Rather than answering immediately, she built suspense and prepared to reveal the ability she had chosen for him. With obvious excitement, Lily announced that the power involved creating the strange room they were currently standing in. The room itself was the gift. Although the ability sounded unusual, Fumio still could not understand its value or purpose. Instead of accepting the offer right away, he expressed doubt and called it a suspicious ability. Lily quickly stopped him and insisted that he listen to the full explanation first. One by one, Lily outlined the rules. Fumio could summon the door and enter the room from anywhere. Only authorized people could see the entrance. Anything inside would vanish if the room was deleted. The final explanation focused on how the power could be used. Storage was one option, but the room could also hold people inside. Lily emphasized that the user would not face any penalties for doing so. Before Fumio could ask any more questions, Lily suddenly disappeared from the room. Her presence vanished as quickly as it had appeared, leaving him alone with the strange power she had given him. 3 days passed after that unusual meeting. During that time, Fumio experimented with the room and discovered that it was more practical than he had expected. One useful feature quickly became clear. Instead of carrying his bag everywhere, he could store it inside the room and retrieve it whenever necessary. The ability saved effort and allowed him to move around without extra weight. While walking through school, another possibility crossed his mind. If several people could stay inside the room during a trip, transportation costs could be reduced significantly. That thought ended almost immediately. A simple reality ruined the entire plan before it could go any further. Despite imagining ways to share the benefit with others, Fumio had nobody to travel with. The realization reminded him of how isolated his daily life had become. Upon entering the classroom, Fumio immediately noticed an unpleasant atmosphere. Several students were gathered together, and their attention quickly shifted toward him. Their expressions carried open hostility, making it clear that he was not welcome among them. Choosing to avoid trouble, he quietly moved toward his seat. A female classmate then called out to him and mentioned that someone was looking for him. Although the comment seemed harmless, a sense of unease began to grow inside him. The answer arrived moments later. Junichi Kasuya approached and suddenly shoved Fumio, sending him stumbling backward. Shocked by the aggression, Fumio struggled to understand why he was being targeted. As he looked up, Fumio recognized the boy standing before him. Kasuya was admired throughout the school for his appearance, athletic ability, and strength. Compared to someone so popular and influential, Fumio felt completely insignificant. Before he could make sense of the situation, another classmate brought up his recent confession. The revelation spread through the classroom in an instant. Realizing that his private feelings had become public knowledge, Fumio felt the pressure around him increase even further. The classroom's attention shifted toward a girl who had remained silent until then. Unlike the others, she showed no amusement. Her expression was cold, and the atmosphere grew noticeably heavier as she stepped forward. Misuzu Kurosawa confronted Fumio directly and questioned whether he understood his place. The sharp remark immediately silenced the room. Fumio already knew who she was. Misuzu was one of the school's most admired students, a successful teen model, and the center of attention wherever she went. More importantly, she was also Kasuya's girlfriend, placing her firmly on the opposite side of the conflict. Without hesitation, she produced the letter Fumio had carefully written. The sight caught him completely off guard. Holding the letter in plain view, Misuzu publicly ridiculed his confession. She described it as disturbing and inappropriate for someone like Masaki. While several classmates watched the humiliation unfold, Fumio could only stare in disbelief as his personal feelings were turned into a source of mockery. Humiliation continued as Misuzu mocked the contents of Fumio's confession letter in front of the entire class. When he tried to take the letter back, she rejected him immediately and warned him to stay away from Masaki forever. Laughter and ridicule spread through the room, while he stood frozen in embarrassment. Unable to remain silent, Fumio moved forward in an attempt to recover the letter. Before he could do anything, Kasuya stepped in and struck him hard. Anger quickly replaced the earlier mockery. Kasuya accused Fumio of causing trouble for Misuzu and threatened him with further violence. Desperate to explain himself, Fumio tried to say that he only wanted his letter returned. The situation grew even worse when Kasuya demanded a public apology. Surrounded by classmates who watched with amusement, Fumio was ordered to kneel and admit responsibility for everything. Faced with overwhelming intimidation, Fumio slowly lowered himself and repeated the humiliating words demanded of him. Smiles appeared on the faces of the students around him. As the laughter continued, his dignity was stripped away in front of the entire class. The humiliation did not end with the forced apology. Demanding further submission, Kasuya ordered Fumio to bow his head to the floor repeatedly. Surrounded by mocking classmates, Fumio obeyed while pain and shame continued to build inside him. Satisfied by the spectacle, Kasuya laughed at Fumio's condition. Tears streamed across Fumio's face as he repeated the words he had been forced to say. Every apology sounded emptier than the last, yet he continued because resistance would only bring more suffering. Misuzu then stepped forward and delivered another blow. Looking down on him without sympathy, she announced that they would let him go for the day. Before leaving, Misuzu issued one final warning. Her expression remained cold, as she ordered Fumio to stay away from Masaki forever. The threat was clear and left no room for misunderstanding. Later, Fumio isolated himself in the restroom. Water ran from the sink as he tried to clean his face and regain control of his emotions. Away from the laughter and insults, he stared at his reflection and silently relived the humiliation he had just endured. Standing alone in the restroom, Fumio replayed the events of the day in his mind. The insults, threats, and humiliation refused to leave him. As the memories resurfaced, another thought emerged alongside them. The devil's final words echoed through his head. She had clearly stated that the power belonged to him, and that its use was entirely his choice. Those words lingered as anger slowly replaced the helplessness he had felt moments earlier. Clenching his fist, Fumio made a silent vow. The humiliation he had suffered would not be forgotten. Deep resentment grew inside him, and he became determined to make the people responsible face consequences for what they had done. The following day arrived. While students moved through the school as usual, Misuzu hurried through the hallway without realizing that someone was watching her closely. To everyone else, it seemed like an ordinary morning. Elsewhere, Fumio had already reached a decision. Focusing on his target, he prepared to use the power he had received from Lily. A strange door began to manifest nearby as he fixed his gaze on Misuzu Kurosawa. The moment Misuzu walked past, a large wooden door suddenly appeared behind her. Before she could react, a hand reached out from the darkness beyond the entrance. Shock flashed across her face as the impossible scene unfolded in an instant. A powerful force pulled her backward without warning. The hallway disappeared from view as she was dragged through the mysterious doorway. Confusion replaced confidence, and she had no opportunity to resist what was happening. When her surroundings finally stopped spinning, Misuzu found herself inside a strange enclosed room. Cold walls surrounded her on every side. Panic quickly set in as she realized she had been transported somewhere completely unfamiliar. Fear grew stronger as she searched for an explanation. The room offered no clues, and no obvious exit could be seen. Questions raced through her mind while she struggled to understand who could have orchestrated such an impossible situation. At last, a figure emerged before her. The sight immediately answered one question, while creating many more. Standing inside the room was Fumio. As their eyes met, Misuzu finally understood who had brought her there. Misuzu stared at Fumio with disgust, after realizing he was responsible for her confinement. Fear and anger mixed together, as she struggled to understand his intentions. Instead of showing hesitation, Fumio confronted her directly. The humiliation he had suffered fueled his determination, and he no longer appeared willing to back down. Finally, he revealed the purpose behind his actions. Driven by resentment, Fumio decided to keep Misuzu imprisoned as revenge for everything that had happened to him. Fumio stood in front of the trapped girl and calmly declared his decision. The sudden statement left her frozen in disbelief as she stared at him. A moment earlier she had expected an ordinary encounter, but the situation had shifted completely. Shock quickly turned into anger. Rising from the floor, the girl demanded to be released and struggled to understand what was happening. Panic began to replace her confidence as the reality of her confinement settled in. Rather than answering, Fumio stayed silent and watched. His expression revealed little, making his intentions impossible to read. The absence of a response only increased her frustration, while uncertainty continued to build inside the room. As the silence dragged on, unease became visible on her face. Fear slowly replaced her defiance, and every passing second made her more unsettled. Meanwhile, Fumio observed the effect of his actions with growing interest. Before the situation could progress further, a familiar figure appeared near a swirling portal. The newcomer noticed Fumio's actions and immediately understood what had happened. Standing beside the dark opening, she realized he had finally taken the first step toward using his power. A strange girl floated beside Fumio while studying the captive woman with curiosity. Rather than showing concern, she treated the situation like a game and evaluated the target from a distance. The captive woman stared at the floating figure in disbelief. Unable to understand what she was seeing, confusion quickly spread through the room. The captive woman questioned the bizarre claims about demons and powers, assuming everything was some kind of joke. Her disbelief contrasted sharply with the seriousness on Fumio's face. Gradually, Fumio confirmed that the floating girl was real and revealed that she had granted him a special ability. Surprise replaced skepticism as the captive woman began reconsidering everything she had witnessed. Without hesitation, Fumio raised his hand and prepared to demonstrate the truth. The room fell silent as attention shifted toward him. Anticipation filled the air while the captive woman waited for proof of his claim, revealing an unnatural room created by his will. Realization struck the captive woman as the impossible scene unfolded before her eyes. From that moment onward, denying the truth was no longer an option. Fumio calmly dismissed the captive girl's doubts and allowed her to believe the entire situation was a lie. At the same time, he reminded her that even her phone would not function inside the mysterious room. Without waiting for a response, he turned away and headed toward the exit. Alarm immediately appeared on the girl's face as she realized he intended to leave her alone. Standing near the doorway, he explained that meaningful conversation was impossible in her current state. A period of isolation, in his view, would give her time to calm down and think. Moments later, the portal activated, allowing him and Lily to leave the room behind. Back in the school hallway, Fumio walked forward while Lily floated beside him. Although other students passed by normally, nobody reacted to the demon's presence. Observing the scene, he realized that only he could see Lily outside the room. Rather than discussing punishment, Fumio focused on his objective. Darkness, hunger, and loneliness would force the captive girl to confront her behavior. With that decision made, he pushed the matter aside and prepared to return to class. When Fumio entered the classroom, his classmates were unusually excited. Several students laughed while discussing the strange events from the previous day. The group treated the incident like entertainment, joking about the girl who had suddenly disappeared. A moment later, Lily noticed a change in his mood. Unlike the others, he showed no enjoyment and remained deep in thought. The situation seemed to weigh on him more than expected. Memories of his old classroom life resurfaced in his mind. Back then, simply being surrounded by those students had made it difficult for him to breathe or raise his head. However, after obtaining his power, that fear had vanished. Across the room, his gaze stopped on another classmate sitting alone. As he continued looking in her direction, she eventually noticed and became confused by the attention. Questions began forming in her mind, while Fumio silently observed her reaction. 2 days later, a school holiday gave him free time. Standing outside his home, Fumio opened a portal leading to the hidden room. With the isolation period nearly complete, he prepared to check on the captive girl once again. After 2 days had passed, Fumio stood in front of the massive door leading to the hidden room. Curiosity filled his mind as he wondered how the captive girl had endured the isolation without wasting any more time. He prepared to enter and examine the results of his experiment. The door slowly opened, revealing the dark space beyond. Carrying a bottle of water, Fumio stepped inside and calmly called out to Kurosawa. His voice broke the long silence that had surrounded the room for days. A faint reaction came from the darkness. Movement appeared near the floor as someone struggled to respond. The weak sound immediately told Fumio that her condition had changed far more than he expected. Soon, Kurosawa came into view. Her clothes were disheveled, her posture was unstable, and exhaustion covered her face. The confident girl from before was nowhere to be seen. Days of darkness, hunger, and loneliness had clearly taken a heavy toll on her. Observing her condition, Fumio glanced at the useless phone lying nearby. The device had been unable to connect to any signal, leaving her completely isolated. The moment Fumio appeared, Kurosawa crawled toward him and desperately begged for forgiveness. Her pride had completely vanished after days of isolation. Weak and frightened, she clung to the hope that he would finally release her from the room. Rather than showing sympathy, Fumio rejected her plea without hesitation. Fear spread across her face as she realized her suffering was not over. Watching her reaction stirred unfamiliar emotions within him. Holding the bottle above her, he calmly reminded her of her condition. According to his estimate, she had little time left if nothing changed. Desperation immediately overwhelmed Kurosawa, seeking another way to save herself. She suddenly offered information about Masaki. Panic drove her to reveal details she would never have shared under normal circumstances. Hoping to gain mercy, she promised to help Fumio get closer to the girl he had been watching. A bitter smile appeared on Fumio's face as he pointed out the contradiction. Only days earlier, Kurosawa had warned him to stay away from her friend. Now, fear had pushed her to betray that same friend without hesitation. Fear completely overtook Kurosawa as she backed away from Fumio, convinced that her life was in danger. She begged him not to kill her. Meanwhile, Fumio calmly explained that simple apologies were not enough to erase what had happened. Desperation pushed her to search for any possible way out. After a brief hesitation, she suddenly made an offer she believed would save her. The unexpected proposal echoed through the room, leaving no doubt about how terrified she had become. For a moment, Fumio could only stare at her in confusion. The meaning of her words slowly registered in his mind, and disbelief immediately followed. Even Kurosawa seemed startled by how quickly she had blurted out the suggestion. Countless thoughts raced through Fumio's head at once. As someone with little experience in romance, he struggled to process the situation standing right in front of him. Temptation, shock, and uncertainty mixed together while he tried to decide how to respond. Rather than accepting her offer immediately, Fumio began questioning her motives. Suspicion replaced confusion as he convinced himself that she might be trying to manipulate him. Fumio quickly dismissed Kurosawa's desperate offer and reminded himself to stay focused. Rather than letting emotions control his actions, he chose to think carefully about the situation. After making his decision, he tossed a bottle of water toward her. The small act of kindness surprised Kurosawa, who had expected only more threats. Without saying much else, Fumio informed her that she could drink as much as she needed before turning to leave once again. The moment he disappeared through the exit, Kurosawa lunged toward the bottle. Weak hands struggled to grasp it, but desperation gave her enough strength to succeed. Not long afterward, the emotional strain finally overwhelmed her. Curled up on the floor, she broke down completely. The isolation, fear, and uncertainty she had endured over the past days poured out at once. Meanwhile, Fumio returned home and opened a portal to contact Lily. Questions continued to trouble his mind, and he wanted advice from the one who had given him his power. Emerging from the dark opening, the demon immediately noticed his serious expression. After returning home, Fumio gathered his courage and asked Lily for advice. Embarrassment nearly stopped him from speaking, but the situation with Kurosawa continued to bother him. Lily immediately found his request amusing. A wide grin appeared on her face as she listened to his explanation. Meanwhile, Fumio struggled to maintain his composure and regretted bringing up the subject so directly rather than offering a serious answer. Lily began teasing him. She quickly guessed that Kurosawa's proposal had affected him more than he wanted to admit. The demon's playful attitude only made Fumio more uncomfortable as she continued pressing the topic. The teasing grew even worse when Lily suggested that he was already interested in Kurosawa. Fumio denied it at once and insisted that his concerns had nothing to do with romance. Even so, Lily remained unconvinced and continued drawing her own conclusions. Before long, the discussion drifted into increasingly ridiculous territory. Lily casually mentioned bizarre possibilities involving supernatural powers and manipulation, causing Fumio to reject every idea immediately. Although the conversation failed to provide a useful answer, during their discussion, Lily finally offered a solution that immediately caught Fumio's attention. With a mischievous smile, she suggested brainwashing as a way to completely reshape a person's behavior. Although the idea sounded extreme, Fumio listened carefully instead of dismissing it outright. Lily explained the concept in her own unusual way. According to her, human values and beliefs were built through experience and could be replaced with new ones. The explanation sounded absurd, yet Fumio became increasingly interested. Meanwhile, another difficult day passed inside the hidden room. Hunger continued to torment Kurosawa as she sat alone in the darkness. Regret filled her thoughts, and embarrassment returned whenever she remembered the desperate offer she had made earlier. As her condition worsened, loneliness became even harder to endure. Memories of familiar faces surfaced one after another, especially thoughts of Jun. Weakness and exhaustion slowly replaced her remaining resistance, leaving her emotionally vulnerable. At that moment, the heavy door finally opened again. Kurosawa immediately recognized the figure standing at the entrance. Relief rushed through her body as she realized Fumio had returned. Fumio returned to the room with a new plan already in mind. Following Lily's advice, he immediately established dominance by striking Kurosawa and forcing her to recognize the difference in power between them. The memory of her earlier offer remained fresh in his mind. Looking down at the terrified girl, Fumio considered how easily he could take advantage of the situation. However, the thought itself was more important than the act. Trembling uncontrollably, Kurosawa became convinced that something terrible was about to happen. Every action and word from Fumio seemed to confirm her fears. Yet instead of carrying out her expectations, he calmly pointed out that she still failed to understand her position. Once her fear reached its peak, Fumio suddenly changed direction. Rather than threatening her further, he offered hope. He explained that there was a way for her to leave the room and promised to teach her how to earn that freedom. Fumio continued laying out the conditions. Value and usefulness, in his eyes, would determine her future. If she proved herself worthy, he would treat her well and might even release her someday. He continued explaining his plan, while Kurosawa listened weakly. Hunger and exhaustion had worn down her resistance, making it easier for her to accept his words and depend on him for a solution. Soon afterward, the pressure achieved its effect. Overwhelmed by fear and desperation, Kurosawa abandoned her remaining pride and focused entirely on gaining Fumio's approval. A young woman remained trapped inside a sealed room while Fumio watched her carefully. Fear and uncertainty showed on her face as she realized she could not escape. Meanwhile, Fumio struggled with the weight of controlling another person's fate. Back at home, Fumio listened as the demon analyzed the situation. She encouraged him to stop hesitating and take advantage of the woman's vulnerable state. Although he understood the opportunity before him, doubt continued to cloud his judgment. According to the demon, the captive woman was exhausted from overwork and weakened by hunger. Her mental condition made her more likely to accept unreasonable choices if she believed they offered relief. The explanation became clearer as the demon revealed her strategy. By making the woman believe that gaining Fumio's affection was the key to escaping confinement, she would begin acting according to that goal. Even after hearing the details, Fumio remained uncertain. The demon insisted that winning the woman's heart was only the first stage of a larger scheme. As he considered the consequences, he realized he was already moving deeper into a dangerous game of control and deception. Later that night, Fumio reviewed the demon's advice, while she excitedly described the benefits of successfully controlling the captive woman. Despite her encouragement, he pushed those thoughts aside and focused on studying. Meanwhile, the woman wandered through the dark room, struggling to see her surroundings. Anxiety grew as she searched for something familiar. Eventually, she approached Fumio and hesitantly sought help, showing a level of trust that neither of them fully understood. To assist her, Fumio turned on a flashlight and illuminated the room. The sudden light revealed his presence more clearly than before. Surprise quickly spread across the woman's face, and her innocent reaction caught him completely off guard. Rather than acting according to the demon's expectations, Fumio found himself confused by her behavior. Nervousness replaced confidence as the woman awkwardly responded to his attention. Uncertainty filled the room while both struggled to understand what the other was thinking. As the situation became more personal, the woman revealed details about her past and admitted her lack of experience. Embarrassment mixed with vulnerability while she tried to explain herself. Listening carefully, Fumio realized that her trust was growing. Fumio's confidence immediately collapsed after learning more about the woman's past. The strategy he had prepared depended on assumptions that no longer seemed accurate. Faced with an unexpected situation, he began questioning whether his original plan could still succeed. Seeing his confusion, the demon quickly appeared and pushed him to take action. Instead of relying on manipulation alone, she suggested that he personally guide the woman and shape the outcome himself. Not long afterward, the woman encountered the demon and mistook her for an ordinary cosplayer. Rather than correcting the misunderstanding, the demon used the opportunity to position herself as an ally. While Fumio observed from a distance, the demon continued directing the situation. The woman accepted her guidance without much suspicion and began treating her as someone dependable. Although the cooperation was useful, Fumio felt uneasy watching the demon gain influence so easily. Encouraged by the demon's instructions, the woman decided to take a more active role. Determination replaced some of her earlier hesitation as she prepared to follow the proposed plan. Meanwhile, Fumio realized that events were moving forward faster than he had expected. The demon continued pushing the situation forward while treating the entire process like a game. Although the woman felt embarrassed by the unusual instructions, she remained determined to follow the guidance she had been given. Trying to overcome her hesitation, the woman carefully approached Fumio and attempted to carry out the demon's plan. Nervousness was visible in every movement, yet she forced herself to continue. Rather than allowing either of them time to think, the demon immediately raised the difficulty of the task. New instructions arrived one after another, leaving Fumio overwhelmed. As the distance between them disappeared, uncertainty gave way to impulsive actions. The woman focused entirely on achieving the goal she believed would lead to her freedom. Every step brought her closer to accepting the strange situation surrounding her confinement. Conflicting emotions filled her mind as reality became harder to separate from the role she was trying to play. Confusion, dependence, and determination blended together while she continued moving forward. Watching everything unfold, Fumio began to realize that the demon's influence was changing the woman far faster than he had expected. Following the demon's instructions, the woman continued trying to please Fumio. Every action was closely monitored, while the demon enthusiastically encouraged her progress. Meanwhile, Fumio became increasingly uncomfortable, as the situation moved beyond anything he had originally planned. Suddenly, the tension in the room reached its peak. The woman reacted with surprise when events unfolded faster than expected. At the same time, Fumio realized that he was losing control of the carefully calculated scenario he had been trying to maintain. Instead of pulling away, the woman displayed an unexpected response. Her behavior shocked both Fumio and the demon, creating an awkward silence. Confusion quickly spread as neither of them fully understood why she seemed so accepting of the situation. The demon immediately found amusement in the outcome and began offering explanations. According to her, the woman's physical condition and emotional state were influencing her decisions. Struggled to determine whether the changes he was witnessing were genuine or the result of prolonged confinement. Soon afterward, the conversation shifted toward food and rewards. Hunger became an obvious concern, reminding everyone of the woman's condition. As the atmosphere relaxed slightly, Fumio started recognizing how dependent she was becoming. As the situation continued, the demon reached a new conclusion about the captive woman. Rather than seeing her as a careful planner, she began viewing her as someone acting impulsively and revealing her true personality under pressure. Fumio listened in disbelief, unsure how to respond to the unexpected assessment. Despite his uncertainty, the demon refused to slow down. She pushed Fumio to stay committed to the original plan and stop second-guessing every decision. Meanwhile, the woman's behavior became harder to predict. Soon afterward, the demon introduced another mysterious method that she claimed would help move events forward. Although Fumio questioned the idea, he lacked a better alternative and reluctantly allowed her to take control once again. Following the demon's instructions, the woman was guided through the next stage of the plan. Confusion remained visible on her face, yet she continued cooperating because she believed it would improve her circumstances and bring her closer to a solution. As the demon continued directing events from the sidelines, the woman's emotions became increasingly difficult to read. Watching everything unfold, Fumio realized that the gap between manipulation and genuine feelings was becoming blurred. The demon continued directing the situation while encouraging both participants to keep moving forward. Fumio tried to remain composed, but the pressure surrounding him steadily increased. Meanwhile, the captive woman followed the instructions she was given. As the plan progressed, the demon closely observed the woman's reactions and pointed out every sign of emotional change. Growing embarrassment made it difficult for the woman to stay calm, while Fumio struggled to hide his own discomfort. The atmosphere inside the room became increasingly tense. Watching from nearby, the demon appeared satisfied with the results so far. The woman seemed conflicted, caught between hesitation and determination. At the same time, Fumio realized that events were advancing faster than he had expected. Suddenly, something unexpected happened. The mysterious substance provided by the demon produced stronger effects than anticipated, causing Fumio to lose control of the situation. Moments later, both the woman and the demon reacted with surprise as the consequences became clear. What had started as a carefully managed plan was now moving in an unpredictable direction. Faced with the unexpected outcome, everyone realized that the situation had become far more complicated than before. The effects of the demon's plan finally pushed the situation beyond Fumio's control. Embarrassed and overwhelmed, he struggled to think clearly while the demon watched the chaos unfold. By the time morning arrived, the room had fallen quiet. The demon reminded Fumio that ordinary life was still waiting outside. Despite that reminder, the events of the previous night continued weighing heavily on his mind. Unexpectedly, the woman refused to let the situation end so easily. Acting on emotions she barely understood herself, she continued pursuing Fumio even after the original objective had already been achieved. Alarmed by her behavior, the demon rushed in and tried to stop things before they went too far. Eventually, calm returned to the room. The woman lost consciousness from exhaustion, leaving Fumio with time to reflect on everything that had happened. Looking at the result of the plan, he questioned whether his actions had truly been his own decisions from beginning to end. Before he could dwell on those thoughts any longer, the demon announced the outcome. According to her, the first stage had been completed successfully. although Fumio remained confused by everything that had happened. After completing the first stage of his plan, Fumio was presented with a list of new abilities granted by his power. Several functions had been unlocked, allowing him to manage the confinement room more effectively, revealing that her relationship to the room had entered a new phase. The demon carefully explained the meaning behind the status system. According to her, confined people could gradually develop stronger levels of attachment depending on how they were treated. While listening to the explanation, Fumio realized that his actions were having a much greater impact than he originally believed. Once the discussion ended, the demon reminded him that normal life still had to continue. School awaited him outside, and remaining inside the room for too long would only attract suspicion. Before departing, the demon checked on the sleeping woman. Her condition appeared more stable than before, suggesting that she had recovered somewhat from her earlier exhaustion. As everything settled down, the demon opened a mysterious portal and called for another individual. The appearance of a new figure hinted that the next stage of Fumio's journey was about to begin, bringing fresh challenges and unexpected complications. After opening the portal, the demon summoned a higher-ranking figure from her world. The newcomer immediately assessed the situation and listened to the report. Satisfied with the progress so far, she ordered the next phase of the plan to continue without delay. Following those instructions, preparations began at once. The sleeping woman was moved to a more suitable room while the summoned demon inspected the area. Her observations confirmed that major events had recently taken place. Meanwhile, Fumio left the confinement room and headed toward school. Although he tried to focus on his normal routine, memories from the previous night repeatedly surfaced in his mind. The contrast between his ordinary surroundings and his secret activities felt increasingly difficult to ignore. Each step toward school made those memories harder to suppress. What had happened inside the room no longer felt distant or unreal. Instead, the consequences of his actions began settling heavily on his conscience. Before long, his thoughts turned toward the woman herself. Images of her current condition mixed with memories of how she had treated him in the past as he reflected on everything that had happened. While walking to school, Fumio replayed recent events in his mind. The new abilities he had gained made him realize he could now control more rooms and influence more people. A darker thought soon replaced his hesitation. Rather than feeling regret, he began recognizing the desire for revenge that had been growing inside him. Memories of those who had hurt and humiliated him resurfaced. Their faces reminded him of the anger he had carried for a long time. By the time he reached school, Fumio had made a decision. His attention shifted toward finding the next person who would become the target of his revenge. Misuzu jolts awake in unfamiliar sheets, heart pounding, last night's memories clouded and fragmented. Confused by the lavish setting and strange clothing, Misuzu senses something is deeply wrong here. An elegant maid named Frisia greets her, avoiding answers while mentioning Master Fumio. Memories flood in, moments of surrender, blurred choices. Misuzu grapples with guilt, shame, and powerless regret. Misuzu begs to leave, but Frisia coldly explains, the room exists nowhere else, escape is impossible. Frisia informs Misuzu she may leave, but only if Fumi-sama grants her permission. Pretending to care is her only chance. Misuzu hopes boredom will eventually set her free. Frisia warns her, toys aren't returned, they're discarded. Misuzu realizes obedience may not guarantee survival. Shaken by the word dispose, Misuzu falls silent. Frisia shifts focus, offering an elaborate meal. Staring at the untouched food, Misuzu's emotions overflow. Shock, fear, and helplessness break her stillness. Misuzu devours the food nervously. Hunger overpowers caution, though Frisia watches silently from behind. Frisia presents suspicious drinks with a smile. Misuzu declines, unsettled by the strange implications. Comforted by food and care, Misuzu feels drowsy. Maybe Frisia truly means her no harm. Misuzu awakens in confusion. Frisia is gone. Suddenly, Lily appeared, greets her with a smirk. Disoriented, Misuzu realizes she's returned to the room. Lily hints it was all intentional. Misuzu collapsed to the floor, disoriented. Only stale bread and water were offered sparingly. Her thoughts spiraled. Hunger became unbearable. Pride faded beneath the pressure of empty, gnawing pain. Desperation consumed her. Misuzu proposed submission, hoping affection could be her path to freedom. Laughter followed. Lily mocked her plea. Love wouldn't save her, only usefulness might. Terror set in. Frisia coldly explained, broken toys are discarded. Misuzu begged for her life. Misuzu begged for another chance. Lily smirked, offering it in exchange for further surrender. Misuzu's will eroded further. Lily gleefully confirmed the program's control over her heart and mind. Fumio woke alone in the school infirmary, calm and oddly refreshed from the weekend. Despite police questions about Misuzu, Fumi bragged silently. His secret remained safe for now. Surprised by Masaki's voice, Fumi turned. She entered nervously, burdened by something unspoken inside. Masaki apologized nervously. Her involvement in Misuzu's fate weighed heavier than expected. Fumio overheard something odd. Masaki's behavior and words hinted at something she wasn't saying. Alone in the hallway, Fumio decided to test his ability to manipulate physical space. Summoning energy, he pierced the wall. A strange room materialized from thin air, fully functional. Inside the chamber, Fumio confirmed, Misuzu was isolated elsewhere. His powers had grown once again. Fumio marveled at his bypassing abilities. No barrier could hinder him now, not even locks. While hiding nearby, he froze. Others approached. His hidden door might not stay secret forever. He spotted Kasuya and Fujiwara together. Confused, he wondered if they suspected anything unusual. Lily suddenly appeared, teasingly analyzing Fujiwara's intentions and mocking Kasuya's growing confidence with biting charm. Lily revealed Fujiwara was just another damaged soul, like Misuzu, like Fumio, both shaped by cruelty. Fumio questioned Fujiwara's bold style, but Lily explained it masked deeper fears and pain. Lily dismissed Fujiwara's value, finding her too easy, too dull to manipulate emotionally. Rumors of Teruya's affection for Kasuya stirred old emotions, catching even Fumio by surprise. Lily mockingly reminded Fumio of his insecurities, belittling his grasp of intimacy and control. Exhausted, Fumio complained, overworked and frustrated. Training continued, but restrictions during brainwashing left him powerless. Fumio realized fear alone wasn't enough. A deeper plan was needed to control Misuzu. He accessed the old school building, confident. Locks and barriers crumbled before his growing power. Fumio settled in solitude, relishing the peace, until strange noises echoed from deeper inside. He spotted Fujiwara and track club girls. Their presence here felt unnatural, their eyes vacant. Teruya, proud and intense, commanded the group. Her authority wasn't earned, it was quietly resented. Fumio watched the girls whispering. Was this jealousy, or something darker simmering between them? He followed them silently, shocked to see them access a locked classroom deep inside. A sudden scream pierced the hallway. Fumio froze. Was Fujiwara in danger inside that room? Inside, figures loomed. Fujiwara sat alone, cornered. Their silent stares weighed heavier than words. Fujiwara laughed awkwardly, masking dread. Surrounded, she asked the obvious, what did they want? Others mocked Fujiwara, blaming her for flirting with Kasuya, ignoring the confusion and innocence in her face. Without warning, Teruya struck her friend. Teruya was jealous because she called Kasuya formally. Fearful, the girl begged for forgiveness, bowing low as others watched in silence. Fujiwara tried to laugh it off, but Fumio saw her mask slipping under pressure. Teruya stared Fujiwara down and called her real name, exposing a truth she wanted hidden. Teruya cornered Fujiwara, exposing her former identity. Fujiwara's panic denial only proved her guilt. A haunting encounter confirmed it. Fujiwara's new life masked deep trauma and past exploitation. Fumio connected the pieces. Fujiwara had once been Kogane, a girl broken under Teruya's cruelty. Mocked and shamed, Fujiwara begged to be spared. Teruya grinned, power surging in her eyes. Teruya's command struck hard. Strip, not justice, was her goal. Fujiwara stood frozen in fear. They snapped degrading photos of Fujiwara, evidence meant to control her through shame and fear. Teruya offered forgiveness, but only temporarily. Her smirk promised more torment if Fujiwara misstepped again. Fujiwara trembled as Teruya used her past against her, threatening exposure and deeper humiliation. Faced with the pressure, Fujiwara hesitated. The others watched, waiting for her to comply. Nervously complying, Fujiwara revealed herself, hoping this would end it, as the others laughed quietly. Mockery intensified. Teruya exposed her secret, breaking her confidence, while Fujiwara pleaded for it to stop. Teruya delivered her final threat, mentioning her sister's marriage to the Yakuza, ensuring Fujiwara's total silence. Shaking, Fujiwara obeyed. Laughter erupted as her appearance was mocked, humiliation deepening beyond words. Teruya demanded more. Fumio still listened. People who bullied him got bullied too. They deserved that. But Fumio's anger erupted. He seethed, not out of justice but jealousy over losing control. Driven by obsession, Fumio decided he must intervene, not to save her, but reclaim dominance. He surveyed the group. Too many, too risky. Yet the urge to act grew. Fumio approached the abandoned school building, recalling rumors of spirits lurking inside its silent walls. Determined, he entered an empty classroom, clenched his fist, and prepared to activate his hidden ability. With a focused gesture, energy surged from Fumio's hand, breaching the sealed wooden door ahead. Inside the hidden room, Fumio sensed Fujiwara's presence. She and others were trapped beyond. He observed through the enchanted door, confirming his limits. Fujiwara, vulnerable, sat among the distressed. Fujiwara trembled near the door, half-clothed and distressed, as eerie sounds echoed behind her. Fumio smirked quietly to himself, realizing his diversion plan was beginning to unsettle the bullies. Sudden screams pierced the silence. Confused and shaken, the bullies questioned the haunting presence surrounding them. Fumio amplified the illusion, projecting a ghostly wail that froze every listener in their tracks. Panic exploded. Teruya's group shrieking in terror. Teruya threatened Fujiwara not to approach Kasuya again. Fumio noticed Fujiwara collapsed in place. Her body trembled. The fear had overwhelmed her. Her expression was frozen. Fumio observed the accident quietly, recognizing an advantage amidst her vulnerability. Feigning surprise, he stepped forward, hiding intent behind polite words. Fujiwara turned toward him, startled. He mocked her distress, disguising cruelty as curiosity. Fujiwara's face showed growing humiliation and disbelief. Suddenly, Fujiwara lunged at him, tears flowing. Her strength returned, fueled by fear and shame. Fujiwara, now clothed, called out playfully. Fumio flinched, startled by her sudden casual attitude. Fumio was disarmed. Her tone was cheerful, but his original threat lost all momentum instantly. She requested a piggyback ride home. Her tone teased, but her eyes searched his intentions. Fumio panicked. She suspected him, but before he could react, she brushed it off playfully. Resting against him, Fujiwara smiled calmly. Her words sounded soft, but her trust felt unsettling. Under moonlight, Fujiwara confessed her despair. Fumio listened silently, unaware of her hidden past. She recalled abuse from Teruya's sister. Violence became routine. School was no longer a haven. Trapped and voiceless, she was exploited. That trauma still haunted her beneath her confident appearance. She smiled through pain, revealing how reinvention shielded her from past torment after moving away. With new strength, she owned her identity, no longer hiding, no longer afraid of judgment. Fumio asked how Teruya reappeared. Fujiwara explained. Fate brought her back through school recruitment. Anna, Teruya's older sister, was the true danger, powerful, intimidating, and fiercely controlling everything. Fujiwara warned Fumio, getting close might invite danger. Misuzu's fate was an ominous example. They pieced together Anna's obsession. Love, jealousy, and control blended into a dangerous emotional equation. Fumio acknowledged Fujiwara's insight. Her theory offered a clever way to derail suspicion and redirect focus. With a cheerful grin, Fujiwara asked Fumio to take her home. She leaned in, trusting completely. As they walked arm in arm, Fumio questioned everything. His supposed target now clung to him. He listed every odd trait she embodied. Fujiwara smiled warmly, immune to his internal chaos. At a towering mansion, she announced proudly, this grand home was where she lived. Her status overwhelmed him, yet her reassurance was simple. Despite everything, she hadn't changed inside. Lily scolded Fumio mid-broadcast, mocking his emotional distraction during a critical operation phase. Acknowledging Fujiwara's unpredictability, Fumio agreed to pause his focus and investigate the Teruya sisters instead. Lily revealed her plan. Misuzu, weakened by trauma, was now the next vulnerable target. Lily demanded readiness. Fumio, anxious and unsteady, reluctantly prepared to follow another ethically dark mission. Back at home, Fumio reflected quietly. Despite everything, it was Fujiwara who truly unsettled him. With Lily's approval, Fumio declared their next operation. A new plan, bold and theatrical, began. Fumio spotted Kurosawa Misuzu. She stood quietly, confident. He realized she'd been preparing something for a while. Loomed before her, Fumio revealed his motive, to win her over, mind and heart. Misuzu sat in silence, torn by guilt. Regret twisted inside her like a tightening rope. Accusations echoed cruelly. She questioned her intent, unable to deny the truth hiding behind her actions. Each word exposed discomforting memories. The closeness pressed her guilt deeper, challenging her with quiet, inescapable truth. She broke down. Remorse crashed in waves. This suffering, she believed, was the price deserved. With resolve hardened, Misuzu whispered a vow. Redemption would come by making him love her. The door creaked open. Misuzu froze in place. Fumio's presence darkened the room instantly. Panic surged. She forced calm, reminding herself this moment could decide everything she'd suffered for. Fumio approached gently. His voice softened. He offered comfort, not vengeance, and held her hand. Tears spilled as resentment rose. Guilt twisted. She whispered blame, unsure if she meant it. He embraced her. Gentle words struck deeper. Misuzu trembled, still acting, still needing him to care. Without warning, Fumio kissed her. Misuzu's eyes widened, shocked, breath caught between resistance and confusion. The kiss deepened. Misuzu's hesitation wavered as emotion surged, drowning out guilt and conflicted thoughts. Heart racing, she questioned her reactions. This wasn't acting anymore. Something genuine began stirring within her. Earlier that night, Lily, cheerful and chaotic, had declared it was time for romantic conditioning. At the board, Lily mapped Misuzu's mind, subtle coercion planned carefully beneath a mask of cheer. Fumio hesitated, nervous but eager. Acting sincere, he rehearsed lines like a novice in love. Lily mocked his clumsy sincerity. His awkwardness revealed how uncertain and inexperienced he truly was. Flustered, he asked for help, but Lily scolded his passiveness, demanding control, not timid retreat. Later, his confident mask slipped. Misuzu's quiet response revealed she was unsure, yet strangely accepting. Behind the scenes, demons plotted deeper manipulation, implanting ideas to mold Misuzu's feelings into false devotion. Lily emphasized control. Get her to say I love you, even insincerely. It builds dependency. She warned, missteps would ruin the illusion. Affection needed to feel rewarding, not punishment-driven. A quiz followed. Fumio, overconfident and crude, failed spectacularly and got promptly smacked for his answer. Lily revealed romance novels, cheesy, passionate, and manipulative. He realized what women secretly craved in fantasy. Despite his doubts, Lily insisted confidence could override looks, pleasure and illusion were all that mattered. Lily grinned. Her confidence wasn't arrogance, it was calculation. Everything, she claimed, could be scientifically explained. She mapped emotions like formulas, first impressions, repeated contact, tools to bend hearts, even unwilling ones. With theory complete, she dismissed her books. It was time for real-world demonstration, she declared. Lily summoned a portal. Fumio blinked, startled as an eerie glow-twisted reality opened. Out stepped a restrained girl, silent, breathing heavily. Her assistant emerged. Fairy trembled and tied. Fairy knelt obediently. Her restraint in history disturbed Fumio, but Lily offered no apology. Lily announced the training. Strict rules, no shortcuts. Practice demanded control and sensitivity, not impulse. He listened, baffled. Physical technique alone wasn't enough. Affection and reassurance mattered more than friction. Conflicted, Fumio questioned himself. This was supposed to be revenge, yet here he was, engaging. Nervous, he leaned in. Lily opened a book, coaching calmly. His education had officially begun, Fumio whispered with forced boldness. The line felt dramatic, but his intent was practiced confidence. Fairy responded intensely. Each motion guided, each word rehearsed. His training echoed in every gesture now. Later, Misuzu received him with quiet tension. Practice met reality. His learned tenderness found unexpected purpose. He activated a new skill. A soft glow formed structure, comfort replacing stone beneath her. Cradling her gently, Fumio spoke kindly. Misuzu's eyes widened. She hadn't expected warmth, not here. Fumio repeated his rehearsed line, masking nerves. He mimicked charm pulled from fantasy scripts barely convincingly. Misuzu lay breathless, her thoughts tangled. His words shouldn't reach her, but they stirred something unexpected. Fumio's grip tightened. His practiced control wavered as real emotion tangled with his rehearsed dominance. He paused, calculating. Withholding affection became leverage. Misuzu blinked, caught between frustration and reluctant longing. She murmured softly, conflicted. Say it, he urged. Misuzu froze. Was this control or craving connection? Moved by his words, Misuzu responded. Doubt lingered, but something honest pushed her to speak. Her voice trembled. Physical closeness turned emotional. Feelings clashed as vulnerability replaced carefully guarded pride. They embraced. The walls between them dissolved. Laughter mixed with affection, desire, and confused trust. Afterward, he stared at her sleeping face, stunned by the softness he'd never expected. He proudly reported success, but Lily's silence tightened. Something in her gaze felt off, disturbed. Dread crept in. Fumio hadn't leveled up. Lily's question cut through his shallow confidence. He feared it was all an act. Lily, skeptical, admitted uncertainty despite monitoring Misuzu's thoughts. Her feelings were murky, affection blooming, but not romantic. Lily explained. Control was physical, not emotional. With the night over, Lily took over. Fumio stepped away, unaware what she'd do next. He welcomed the morning proudly. Confidence grew. Unaware that his perceived victory might be hollow, Fumio walked to school, basking in imagined love, ignoring its artificial roots beneath the surface. He admitted it. Without pain, none of this would have happened. As someone approached him, Fumio froze as the man's voice was firm. He revealed, Detective wanted speaking with him. His heart sank. The word hit like thunder. Investigation. Control cracked under a rising threat. Panic tightened in his chest. If they searched too deep, the truth could unravel everything. Fumio approached the principal's office, anxious. Detectives were questioning classmates. His secret might be exposed. Inside, two officials waited. One stern, the other silent. Fumio was summoned without hesitation. They calmly asked about Kurosawa's disappearance. He pretended confusion, unsure if they suspected his involvement. Mentions of bullying surfaced. Fumio tensed. They claimed neutrality, but their eyes searched for cracks. He left relieved. Nothing was proven. But fear lingered. How long could his mask hold? Detectives interrogated him again about Kurosawa Misuzu. He stayed calm, hiding his deeper involvement carefully. Inside the office, an intimidating officer greeted him. The atmosphere shifted. Something serious had arrived. They asked about Misuzu's disappearance. He feigned surprise, nervous but relieved. The questions remained superficial. The officer mentioned Teruya. Though tense, he nodded, relieved they didn't suspect him directly this time. Leaving the room, he pretended ease. As he walked, he bumped into Masaki. Fumio nervously thanked Masaki about the last event. She smiled gently, but avoided his hope. She waved goodbye, claiming she had to leave for interviews. Fumio was left behind. Standing alone, Fumio replayed her words, questioning if it truly was a soft rejection. Outside, two investigators discussed Fumio's demeanor. One labeled him pitiful, just another quiet, broken schoolboy. Other students spoke of Kurosawa Misuzu in past tense. Fumio's odd confidence left lingering questions. One detective recalled Fumio's earlier comment, too specific, as if he already knew everything. Ryoko, determined, vowed to watch Fumio closely. This would be her final solo case. Days later, Fumio skipped class again, relaxing on the rooftop like nothing weighed on him. Fujiwara appeared suddenly. Fumio insulted her bluntly, noting her clothes, tone, and shameless confidence. Then, without warning, she asked if he'd date her, leaving Fumio speechless and confused. Fujiwara teased boldly, recalling past exposure. Fumio blushed, questioning her sudden push for romance. She admitted conflict with Teruya began over a misunderstanding involving another boy, Kasuyachi. Fujiwara explained her plan. Dating Fumio would clear gossip and restore her broken reputation. With Misuzu gone and Kasuya withdrawn, Fujiwara no longer fit in with her classmates. Despite Fumio's hesitation, Fujiwara clung to him, announcing their relationship to shock the entire class. Fujiwara pinned Fumio down, insisting he was enjoyable company, while he struggled to resist pressure. She teased him, claiming benefits, like ending his bullying, if he agreed to play along. Fujiwara leaned closer, adding more reasons, each laced with dangerous charm and suggestive intent. Things escalated. Fujiwara tempted him further, offering control and attention he'd never experienced before. A shadowed memory of Misuzu surfaced, her words chilling, her past dark and troubling. Fumio warned her, dating might worsen their reputation. Fujiwara simply pouted, unfazed by the risks. He tried sounding experienced. Fujiwara saw through it, calling him out with playful irritation. Fumio clung to Masaki's vague words, exaggerating their meaning. Fujiwara doubted but listened anyway. She teased him again, joking he was nearly a stalker, then offered to walk home. As they walked, she jokingly suggested meeting her parents, escalating faster than Fumio could process. While Fujiwara teased marriage, Fumio froze. He spotted Masaki quietly walking toward a nearby park. Curious, they hid behind the wall. Fujiwara asked if Masaki was meeting someone secret. Fumio watched in disbelief. Kasuya approached Masaki with quiet steps and an unreadable expression. Ignoring Fujiwara's warning, Fumio moved in closer, eager to uncover the reason behind their meeting. Masaki politely thanked Kasuya, admitting her feelings and request, despite knowing he still cared for Misuzu. Masaki gathered courage and confessed her feelings to Kasuya. Her voice trembling with sincerity, she clung to him tightly, tearfully declaring her wish to become his girlfriend. Hidden in the bushes, Fumio watched silently. His heart sank at the unexpected scene. He realized her earlier kindness was a farewell, not hope. The truth hit hard. While Kasuya walked away with Masaki, Fumio quietly turned back, shoulders heavy with regret. Fumio realized he'd been blind, trusting someone who played a role in his downfall. That night, his heartbreak soured into rage. He swore to confine Masaki Haneda. Fumio stood still as Lily explained Frisia had discreetly removed someone interfering with their plan. While riding, Fumio learned a detective had trailed him. Lily urged focus on tonight's mission. They arrived at Masaki's home. Fumio nodded silently as Lily hovered, signaling to begin surveillance. Fumio confirmed her room location. A faint light showed she'd likely fallen asleep moments earlier. Slipping inside, Fumio reached her door. Tension built as he listened carefully before approaching silently. Fumio spotted Masaki sleeping peacefully, unaware of the silent presence now lingering inside her room. Lily observed her quietly. Fumio noted the photos, hints of Masaki's life and friendships. Lily activated her ability. Masaki still breathed shallowly, signs of sorrow lingered on her face. Fumio hesitated, emotions stirred, but resentment over betrayal silenced regret as Lily urged him to act. Without a word, he carried Masaki into the glowing space. Her confinement had officially begun. Another woman awoke disoriented, confused by her exposed state, unaware of how she arrived like this. Fumio stood silently. Lily identified the woman, Terajima Riko, a detective who'd grown too curious. Trying to recall events, Riko remembered her surveillance, trailing Fumio for days without real progress. She discussed suspicions with colleagues earlier. No one believed Fumio would hide victims at home. Spotting him cycling away, she pursued. But something unexpected in the passenger seat changed everything instantly. Suddenly, Frisia silenced Ryuko with a kiss, draining her energy without warning or mercy. Ryuko slumped forward, strength faded rapidly. Her mind blurred, unable to resist the draining enchantment. Back in the chamber, Ryuko pieced memories together. She recalled fainting, then waking in confinement. Furious, she demanded release. Lily mocked her strength, impressed she'd resisted a full succubus drain. Ryuko insisted her partner would intervene. Fumio downplayed the threat, labeling Lily just another minor demon. Ryuko warned them. Police would act by morning. Lily mocked the threat with amused indifference. Lily declared Ryuko must surrender completely before dawn. Fumio hesitated, unsure about what that entailed. Ryuko panicked. Lily spoke coldly. Breaking someone wasn't hard, just unpleasantly dull without creativity. Then Fairy appeared. Torture, once an angel, now fallen, arrived, her presence sharp, brutal, and silent. Torture could heal instantly, which meant pain had no limits, only duration. Ryuko's fear intensified. As the chains rattled, Fairy spread her wings. Ryuko's pain would be revived, not ended. The only escape was obedience. Lily wondered how many cycles Ryuko could endure before submission. Fairy roared alive. Fumio turned away, disturbed. Lily grinned. His discomfort was part of training. Chainsaw humming as Fairy approached. Ryuko trembled, disbelief overtaking her as Fumio avoided eye contact. Eyes wide, she screamed. Fairy murmured coldly, fall quickly, her will now truly tested. Fumio exited the chamber, leaving the chaos behind him as screams and power echoed loudly. Back home, Fumio noticed something strange. Ryuko's status had changed. A system alert confirmed it instantly. He had leveled up, new abilities unlocked. Ryuko's mind had shifted even deeper into submission. He smelled blood. Confusion hit. She hadn't fully broken. She hovered on the edge of collapse. Suddenly, a light flared. Fumio awakened inside the room again, stunned by the aftermath's violence. Fumio stared in disbelief. Lily spoke smugly. Ryuko lay exposed, her will seemingly fractured completely. Her body had been repaired, but her mind drifted. Emptiness lingered behind her soft expression. Lily explained with eerie calm. The healing would complete when pleasure fused with memory, reshaping her deeply. Fumio hesitated, but curiosity mixed with guilt. Her vulnerable gaze unsettled something buried in his conscience. Later, he adjusted the space, deflecting focus. Painful memories echoed in silence beneath his grin. Fumio calmly asserted control, placing a hand on Ryuko's shoulder, observing her shaken response. Ryuko's body reacted involuntarily, confusing even her. Lily observed with interest, noting Fumio's unique influence. Pinned and disoriented, Ryuko's resistance faded. Her mind struggled as the education method intensified gradually. Fumio advanced his plan, using pressure and precision. Ryuko, breathless, couldn't deny his control. Her thoughts blurred. Each moment pushed her deeper into submission, emotions boiling beneath stitched skin. Fumio pushed forward, reaching his climax with intent. Ryuko's fate was sealed in motion. Lily activated her ability, amplifying the effect on Ryuko's mind through glowing, mystical force. Ryuko's body trembled uncontrollably. The sudden surge of magic disrupted her physical and emotional boundaries. Ryuko turned in confusion, pain flashing across her face as her strength began fading fast. Her resistance collapsed. A system alert confirmed her new role, bound in loyalty and submission. Fumio unlocked new powers, one summoned control, the other revealed secrets in total darkness. Ryuko's identity faded, her will now anchored fully to Fumio, leaving nothing else behind. Fumio stood confidently. Lily confirmed their next phase had begun, no more obstacles ahead for him. Eyes closed, Masaki Haneda awaited her fate unknowingly. Lily prepared to begin her psychological conditioning soon. Masaki awoke confused, suddenly exposed. Sitting upright in a dark, unfamiliar enclosed space. Panicked, she scrambled back, hitting the wall hard, confused by her own undressed state. As she crawled forward disoriented, she realized the place resembled a quiet, dimly lit cabin. A familiar voice echoed nearby, startling her. It belonged to her classmate, Fumio. As she called Fumio, the person startled when the lamp pitched. He heard Masaki's voice. Masaki panicked as Fumio approached, both startled by the awkward, vulnerable situation they'd awakened into. She wrapped herself tightly, nervously suggesting they might have been kidnapped and trapped for unknown reasons. Fumio recalled fragments, a car ride, strange noises, and then, darkness swallowing his memory. Earlier that day, Fumio activated a mysterious power, constructing a space for his secret plan. Satisfied with the illusion of a mountain cabin, Fumio prepared for the next unsettling phase. Lily assigned Fumio full control of the plan, praising his preparation and dedication to detail. Fumio outlined the twist. Masaki wouldn't be alone, making the setting psychologically more intense. Both placed together under duress, he believed emotional tension might force closeness between the two. He cast himself as Masaki's only support, hoping she'd grow attached under false emotional conditions. But his true aim was cruel, manipulate her trust, then break her spirit entirely. Fumio secretly vowed to manipulate Masaki's trust, disguising cruelty behind false care and sympathy. Masaki searched the room in frustration, unaware her captor stood calmly, observing her confusion. He discovered hidden supplies, casually offered food, pretending to share her struggle while concealing his role. As they talked, Masaki opened up, unaware every word was fueling Fumio's psychological strategy. Fumio studied human behavior, using darkness, false empathy, and silence to earn her trust and control. Fumio listened quietly as Masaki spoke freely, unaware he was collecting secrets she'd never share. She eventually fell asleep, exhausted from talking. Fumio finally gained the personal details he long desired. Lily emerged briefly, freezing Masaki's consciousness, anchoring her spirit. While Fumio prepared the next phase they planned to pause, Fumio needed to return home and avoid drawing suspicion from classmates. The next morning, Fumio calmly left for school, hiding the dark truth behind a smile. Fumio dodged Fujiwara's clingy attention at school, frustrated by her bold public affection displays. She even prepared him lunch, oblivious to his discomfort and secret distractions behind the scenes. Meanwhile, Fumio confirmed no suspicions at school. The detective stopped the interrogation about Masaki's disappearance. Returning to the cabin, he resumed the plan, deepening Masaki's dependence before removing control. Masaki stirred from rest, dazed, while Fumio coldly urged her heart to trust and surrender. Fumio activated a special ability, secretly hearing Masaki's thoughts while she questioned her doubts. Masaki, touched by his kindness, considered offering him the bed, overwhelmed by his loving words. He praised her aloud, calling her angelic and pure. Her emotions spiraled with confusion. But Masaki sensed distance in his words, doubting he truly understood who she was. She revealed a past confession to another boy, which angered Fumio more than expected. Masaki admitted her excuse, not a lie. Darkness stirred emotions she'd buried for years. She reflected on Misuzu, a lifelong protector whose presence overshadowed her own fragile confidence. Masaki fell for Kasuya in middle school, but never believed she could surpass Misuzu. Though rejected, Masaki learned Misuzu repeatedly turned Kasuya down, always shielding Masaki's heart quietly. One day, Misuzu wept, asking permission to stop protecting and accept love for herself. Masaki admitted defeat to Misuzu, yet temptation surfaced once Misuzu's presence suddenly vanished. She laughed through guilt, labeling herself the worst for considering stealing someone Misuzu once loved. Behind her vulnerability, Masaki was full of unresolved insecurity, trapped in cycles of comparison and doubt. For her, this wasn't love, it was rivalry. Beating Misuzu mattered more than romance. Fumio responded with calm affirmation, reinforcing her value just to deepen emotional dependence on him. Fumio flattered her gently, disguising manipulation behind admiration, comparing Masaki to something pure and angelic. Masaki cried, torn by guilt, aware she nearly betrayed a friend for fleeting affection. Despite her flaws, Fumio voiced acceptance, encouraging her brokenness while silently fueling her emotional collapse. He vowed to disappear with her, promising devotion while planting deeper control through soft lies. He kissed her firmly, masking intent to break her so she'd never love again. Fumio pressed forward unexpectedly, catching Masaki off guard in a moment neither had fully prepared for. As she hesitated, Fumio's confidence grew, overriding her confusion with an intensity she couldn't control. His strange ability took effect, overwhelming Masaki's resistance through trained gestures that bypassed her reasoning. Despite her thoughts to escape, her body remained unresponsive, surrendering to sensations beyond her understanding. Her voice cracked under pressure, pleading faintly as Fumio's control left her defenseless and shaken. Fumio noted Masaki's reactions sharpened in the dark, prompting him to exploit her vulnerability gently. Her voice trembled with questions, but beneath the tension, pride stirred in her uncertain expression. Sensing her rivalry with Misuzu, Fumio calculated his next step with a controlled, knowing smile. Despite confusion clouding her mind, Masaki's body responded instinctively, caught in a rhythm beyond resistance. To intensify her self-awareness, Fumio illuminated the space, replacing shadowed comfort with exposed confrontation. Exposed under the light, Masaki froze, her surprise overtaken by a growing internal confusion. Fumio praised her with unsettling calm, pushing Masaki deeper into a flustered state of disarray. Using emotional contrast, he drew her attention away from others, reinforcing her insecurities as leverage. Fumio declared her fate decisively, narrowing her choices while masking dominance with affection and certainty. Despite resistance, Masaki's protest weakened. Trapped between pressure and vulnerability, she struggled to grasp control. Masaki trembled beneath the sheets, uncertain and overwhelmed. Fumio's gaze held eerie, focused intensity. She hid her face, confused by the sudden control, her body struggling to respond calmly. Her mind spun as sensations conflicted, fear clashed with heat, leaving her breathing shaken and confused. Fumio whispered promises, his movements deliberate. Masaki, dizzy, clung to fading clarity, thoughts melting into haze. Control slipped from her hands. Fumio's claim echoed, loud, final. She surrendered, unsure what remained hers. Fumio marked Masaki in secret triumph. Her body tensed, but the bond now deepened. As Masaki lay quiet, a strange announcement confirmed her new status. Obedience locked in silently. Fumio gained strange new powers. Rooms expanded, controls sharpened. His influence over this world kept growing. Fumio whispered regret. Guilt surfaced briefly, but the new bond left his mind clouded, uncertain. Back in reality, confusion returned. Masaki confronted Fumio, jealousy rising from rumors and shifting feelings. Fumio denied the rumor, but Masaki's relief hinted at deeper feelings still unspoken aloud. She kissed him without warning. Testing herself, her heart began drifting towards something she couldn't name. Her confession spilled out. Looking at him ignited something, an uncontrollable wave of genuine buried affection. Masaki drifted off again. Fumio turned serious. Then Lily sensed his growing hunger for power. His eyes darkened. He whispered promise of dominance, not love. Masaki lay unaware of his new game. Fumio resumed his daily life, masking ambition. Blending in after chaos proved strangely exhausting. Out of nowhere, Fujiwara leapt on him. Her energy crushed his brief sense of normalcy. Pinned to the ground, Fumio panicked. Fujiwara declared her intentions loudly, shocking nearby students completely. Unseen, a silent observer watched bitterly. His clenched fists and narrowed eyes told a deeper story. Tachioka fumed in frustration. His plan disrupted, jealousy stirred, a new rival now burned in him. Tachioka teased Teruya coldly. She approached him with quiet confidence, her presence cutting through tension. Their chat turned serious. Teruya noted Kasuya's absence, while Tachioka watched her with measured interest. She fumbled briefly, easy to read. Tachioka saw through her bluff but let her speak. With a sly grin, Teruya suggested a deal, one that promised leverage too powerful to ignore. She revealed blackmail. Dirt on Fujiwara gave Tachioka dangerous control. Shock turned to consideration instantly. Tachioka stared in disbelief. The tablet revealed something that made even him go silent inside. Fujiwara's image stunned him, undeniable leverage. Teruya pushed harder, knowing exactly how to bait his interest. Teruya named her price, orchestrate romance with Kasuya. Tachioka agreed, greedy eyes locked on the screen. Confident now, Tachioka clutched the phone tightly. With leverage secured, he denied the deal's true weight. Elsewhere, Fumio simmered with chaotic thoughts. He imagined Ryoko as his next outlet for frustration. Fumio heard unfamiliar laughter downstairs. His mother's voice hinted at a guest. He moved cautiously. His mother teased warmly. Fumio was surprised by her tone. It sounded unusually approving of someone. To his shock, Fujiwara stood smiling. Her sudden visit caught him and his mother off guard. She explained her polished appearance. Her new life as a proper princess brought unexpected confidence. With teasing boldness, Fujiwara grabbed him. Fumio panicked. Her energy was overwhelming, her intentions unclear but fierce. Fumio brushed off accusations. She teased playfully, wrapping around him, testing his composure and nerves. Pressed close, she whispered boldly. Fumio froze, shaken by the intimacy behind her quiet confession. Another girl burst in, full of attitude. Fumio struggled with guilt as tension between them grew. A message interrupted everything. Her face changed instantly. Something serious had just reached her phone. Without hesitation, she turned to leave. Fumio sensed something shifted. The moment had quietly vanished. She exited quietly, apology lingering. Fumio stood speechless, unaware of the heaviness behind her words. Alone, she recalled past torment. The memories surfaced, vivid, raw, and tied to hidden threats. A message summoned her. Its location and tone revealed everything. She knew what would happen there. Footsteps echoed in the alley. She walked, not in ignorance, but in weary resignation. Tachioka waited in disguise. His smirk widened, feeding on her fear and ruined resolve. Fujiwara confronted him about the photo. He laughed it off and hinted at twisted intentions. With mocking confidence, Tachioka taunted her. She realized his manipulation was deeper than she'd imagined. Despite her distress, he guided her forward, pretending charm. Inside, she silently begged for help. The hotel stood cold and distant. A cry for rescue echoed from somewhere deep inside. Fujiwara walks beside Tachioka, distant and uneasy, haunted by memories she never truly escaped from. Tachioka eagerly selects a special room, unaware of Fujiwara's silent dread masked by stillness. He mocks her silence. Unaware, her thoughts retreat inward, shielding herself from what's to come. Fujiwara resigns to fate again, whispering that rescue never comes when life turns unbearable. Tachioka laughs before an ominous door, unaware something deeper now stirs behind Fujiwara's quiet gaze. As the door creaked open, Fujiwara accepted defeat, convinced her fate wouldn't change anymore. Suddenly, a force struck. Tachioka froze mid-step, overwhelmed by a blinding spell and sharp paralysis shock. Tachioka collapsed. Fujiwara watched, realizing something was different. This moment didn't follow her usual helpless script. A familiar silhouette entered. He was rough, but unlike others, he always showed up for her. Fujiwara cried out joyfully, naming Fumio, her unwavering protector, who stood ready to fight for her dignity. Fujiwara stepped into the light, her mind hazy as something shifted deeply within her. Seeing Fumio, Fujiwara's emotions surged. She rushed toward him, arms wide and heart overwhelmed. Her status changed again, now dependent, as joy and attachment overwhelmed her previous numbness and resignation. Fujiwara clung tightly to Fumio, expressing love and relief as if her heart overflowed. Watching secretly, Lily noted the deviation. Fujiwara grew attached without training, an unexpected turn in plans. Earlier that night, Fumio questioned Lily about Fujiwara's odd behavior and what triggered it. Lily revealed a photo message, exposing someone's coercion, sent from a shady hotel known for secrets. Fumio deduced Fujiwara was blackmailed. His expression hardened, rage rising as truth sharpened his intent. Fumio planned a trap using his skill. Lily approved, ready to reshape the hotel. Elsewhere, Frisha coldly warned, anyone caught by her methods would lose all freedom and become property. Lily warned about collateral risk, but Fumio trusted the villain's selfishness to ensure Fujiwara's safety. Fujiwara, overwhelmed with affection, suddenly kissed Fumio, her feelings erupting faster than he could respond. Fumio confirmed Tachioka was behind it all. Fujiwara, still flustered, praised Fumio's strength with adoration. Fumio hid the truth about his powers, brushing off credit to keep her unaware, for now. Fujiwara questioned his possessive words. Embarrassed, Fumio dodged, leaving their relationship status undefined but deeply shifting. Fumio distanced himself with a smirk, confusing Fujiwara as she sensed something guarded behind him. She accepted being the fourth, surprising Fumio with her cheerful embrace of an unusual role. They stood over Tachioka's unconscious body. Fujiwara joked grimly, unsure what justice now looked like. Fumio assured her confidently he had Lily, who handled garbage like Tachioka without second thoughts. Fujiwara's level advanced, new abilities awakened, tools that reshaped memory, perception, and control inside confined space. Ryoko politely declined her fiancé's request, using work as her excuse to avoid intimacy. Though Nakamura smiled, Ryoko narrated the truth. He was her busy but emotionally distant fiancé. Ryoko reflected on emptiness inside her, realizing her true longing pointed elsewhere, not Nakamura. Memories of her past resurfaced powerfully, stirring sensations she couldn't suppress even in public. She spotted Fumio with Fujiwara, a sudden pang of emotion rising as she watched silently. Ryoko longed for the room she once knew, burning with jealousy and unresolved emotional hunger. Exhausted, Fumio lamented his busy schedule, juggling responsibilities while trying to keep everyone in balance. He reflected on Misuzu's situation, admitting neglect, love, left untended, risked rotting into bitterness and damage. Lily casually revealed she sent Tachioka to the demon realm, shocking Fumio with the update. Despite the chaos, they agreed to prioritize Masaki's training, focusing their energy and planning forward. Fumio and Lily inspected the room. Nothing seemed wrong, but something quietly lingered beneath calm. They debated Masaki's treatment strategy. Fumio proposed changes to improve comfort while maintaining necessary control. The new living space was enhanced, more welcoming, relaxed, and furnished with thoughtful as Masaki laid. Lily teased, Fumio admired the comforts, and Masaki relaxed, pleased with food and his presence. Masaki awakened beside Fumio, content and playful, suggesting they begin the next phase together. Masaki awoke surprised, exploring the unfamiliar room. She spotted a door, hoping it led outside. She grew excited upon discovering the bath, eager to wash away tension from the day. With a gentle invitation, Masaki asked Fumio to join her, her expression soft but bold. Steam filled the air as she bathed cheerfully. Fumio watched, unsure how to respond properly. Fumio silently observed her movements, learning more than he intended through sheer awkward proximity. Fumio offered to wash Masaki's back. She accepted, nervous but trusting in his presence. As he scrubbed gently, her reactions intensified, caught between sensitivity and embarrassment from close contact. Fumio insisted on thoroughness. Masaki, flustered, tried to protest, unsure how to handle the moment. Embarrassed but determined, Masaki reversed roles, eager to reclaim some control through playful retaliation. Masaki leaned in close, surprising Fumio with her assertiveness, leaving them both in quiet confusion. Both soaked, they realize no towels are available. A moment of sheepish silence fills the air. They chuckle, acknowledging how caught up they became. He offers to search for a towel. As he opens the door, he finds Masaki in an awkward and surprising state. His shocked gaze lands on Masaki's figure, an unexpected and bold choice of coverage. Masaki, smiling brightly, excitedly declares she found an apron, unaware of his overwhelmed reaction. Fumio drops to his knees, overwhelmed. Lily smugly receives his thanks for divine inspiration. Masaki peeks into the fridge, discovering ingredients that spark a nostalgic culinary idea. Beaming, Masaki presents heart-decorated omuris, offering it warmly with cheerful pride. Their shared meal, laughter, and subtle kisses evoke a blissful, dreamlike domestic harmony. Reflecting alone, Fumio accepts the surreal joy and prepares to part with it all. Lily questioned his closeness with Masaki. Behind her calm gaze hid brewing suspicion. Fumio revealed mysterious pills, preparations, he claimed, his quiet voice masking something crueler beneath. Fertility drugs, he lied. She flinched, knowing they were harmless, but not his true weapon. Hovering over Masaki, he whispered vengeance. How will you despair, when hope's a lie? Fumio returns to the underground room. Lily greets him, curious about Misuzu's mental state. He recalls offering Misuzu sweets, using warmth and patience to rebuild their fragile relationship. Despite the closeness, Fumio senses Misuzu's heart still tied to someone else from her past. To test her emotions, he shifts their dynamic, controlling the pace and observing her reactions. Fumio forces her to face a mirror, confronting her expressions and conflicted inner feelings. Fumio recounted Misuzu's ordeal with unsettling calm. Lily watched, her wings still and expression cold. Tachioka burst in, panicked and furious, his memories scrambled, the monstrous encounter still vivid and raw. Lily mocked Tachioka's tone, hinting he'd received special attention. Fumio remained unreadable, eyes fixed on him. Tachioka trembled. His body, once firm, responded strangely. Lily smirked, explaining transformation through repeated carnal binding. As the change advanced, Fumio taunted him. Tachioka collapsed, paralyzed. Lily coldly prepared for the next. Tachioka froze as he laid, his memory altered beyond recovery or recognition. Fumio left strict instructions, trusting Lily to handle the aftermath while he prepared elsewhere. Haunted by betrayal, Fumio intensified Masaki's psychological conditioning, masking pain behind strategic emotional control. Despite her smile, doubt lingered. He feared the same heartbreak could return again. Progress varied. Ryuko had submitted completely, but Masaki remained trapped between defiance and acceptance. He knew lasting transformation demanded deep emotional impact, one they would never forget, willingly or not. Naked resolve, Fumio moved forward. His plan demanded full commitment. Hesitation now would ruin everything. Masaki awakened, hazy and unsure. Her soft voice broke the silent tension around them. Fumio presented his final demand. Conception in exchange for freedom. Cold, calculated, yet irreversible. Shocked, Masaki realized his true intent. Beneath his calm, Fumio's grip on her fate tightened. Fumio froze as Masaki calmly proposed something life-changing, her tone strangely unwavering despite the situation. Masaki reminded him of their shared past, how far they'd already gone without clear direction. A newfound confidence sparked in her eyes, rooted in old insecurities now seemingly resolved. With determination she demanded control, reaching for the pills that would define their next step. Without hesitation, she swallowed them, sealing her choice with a quiet but purposeful gulp. She extended her hands, gaze soft but firm, inviting Fumio toward the future she envisioned. Her voice was clear. She wanted this child, wanted it to change both their lives. Moments passed. Fumio, overwhelmed and uncertain, gave in, their bodies responding to unspoken pressures. Masaki exhaled deeply, satisfied. She believed she had taken the final step to secure everything. While she slept soundly, Fumio learned of her new dependent status, unchangeable and deeply binding now. After school he prepares to visit Misuzu, nervous, unsure if she's still recovering emotionally. Suddenly, Lily grins. Frisia, her loyal servant, is tending Misuzu, who's not in good shape. At school, Fujiwara boldly sits beside him, throwing off his fragile sense of normalcy again. She leans in playfully, asking to borrow everything. He warns her, but she laughs it off. Tension enters as Tachioka returns. Students whisper about his past actions. His presence sparks unease. During roll call, detectives arrive. Tachioka, pale and trembling, suddenly demands to speak the truth. Elsewhere, Ryoko listens carefully in the restroom. Doors creak. Someone's preparing for something secret. A private meeting begins. Under pressure, a witness breaks down. Her statement is intimate but unclear. She reveals shocking details. Sensuality masks fear. The detectives press harder, trying to extract concrete facts. Fumio's face shows dark satisfaction as he recalls the bizarre assault. The case's true horror unfolds. Fumio confirmed the memory-erasing effect only worked inside the room, not beyond its walls. Ryoko, caught in a compromising act, feared school consequences from her suspicious hotel visit. Fumio interrogated Ryoko further. She hesitated but revealed details about a separate, suspicious incident. Ryoko brought up Anna Teruya, whose sister's behavior had been drawing unwanted attention lately. She confessed Anna's husband was linked to criminal activity. A raid was being planned soon. Suddenly, instructions were given. Retrieve a girl at the gate. Guard her quietly. Fumio warned she'd be shaken. Ryoko, eager for favor, accepted without hesitation or concern. Meanwhile, 3 athletes discussed recent disappearances, unaware how close the darkness was to their team. Masaki had gone missing. They debated theories, tension growing with each unanswered question raised. Shima's suspicions narrowed. All clues pointed toward one name, Fumio. The connection now seemed unavoidable. Others doubted Fumio. He appeared too weak, too harmless. Appearances, however, often lie deeply hidden. The bullying history and a failed love confession painted motive. Shima rethought what she knew. Vengeance, not gain, might be his profit. Even humiliation can become a twisted personal reward. Fumio's calm smile masked intent. Beneath charm and order, he orchestrated everything, alone and unseen. Shima received a warning, but curiosity outweighed fear. Some truths, once known, cannot be reversed. Fumio returns, greeted by Lily's sly smile. She reminds him today holds special significance. She opens the door. Misuzu waits beyond it. Lily urges Fumio to appreciate this moment. Inside the room, the atmosphere shifts. A silent figure turns slowly as Fumio enters cautiously. Misuzu stands dressed boldly, catching Fumio off guard. Her smile hides nervous energy and hope. Fumio struggles to remain calm, recalling their mission. He masks instinct with forced composure and restraint. Misuzu lights up at his flustered compliment. She senses sincerity, her expression softening with relief. Grateful for his presence, she hugs him tightly. He notes Frisia's influence in her appearance. Fumio offers a choice: stay with him or leave for Kasuya. Misuzu hesitates, breath held. Torn by emotion, she chooses Kasuya. Fumio hides disappointment, analyzing her progress toward deeper obedience. He locks her gently, respecting her choice. Misuzu is startled, unaware of what's coming next. Misuzu leaned closer, hoping to prove her true feelings to Fumio through bold, intimate action. Surprising him, she revealed how she'd been taught carefully, determined to please him completely tonight. Misuzu's confidence grew as she offered to handle his needs, her eyes filled with desire. She whispered for Fumio to relax, trusting her as she took full control of everything. Their tension built, Misuzu trembling with the new sensation, completely lost in her feelings for him. She gasped, overwhelmed by closeness, realizing how deep their connection ran as she held on to him. Something shifted. Misuzu's status changed, granting Fumio new control, deepening the bond between captor and dependent. She collapsed against him, satisfied yet changed forever, whispering how incredible everything felt between them now. Fumio rose silently. Knowing things couldn't stop here, he needed to continue with his plan. Smiling faintly, Fumio invited Misuzu to follow, hinting at secrets he still wished to reveal. Fumio led Misuzu through darkness, his tone calm. She hesitated, unable to see anything ahead. Suddenly, blinding light struck. Misuzu winced, shielding her eyes, heart racing at the eerie shift. A towering throne appeared. Misuzu froze in disbelief as Fumio smiled, his intentions no longer hidden. Masaki emerged, vulnerable. Misuzu gasped in shock. Fumio's buried desires had now surfaced completely. Misuzu froze, staring at Masaki's limp form near the empty throne, heart sinking deeply. She stepped back, questioning the strange room's unsettling design, confusion twisting stronger with each heartbeat. Fumio's laughter echoed, revealing Misuzu wasn't the only captive here. Masaki suffered same fate. He bragged about locking Masaki up, enjoying every cruel word as Misuzu's shock grew stronger. Fumio's twisted plan unfolded beside the throne, craving both girls' submission in his dark stage. Lily warned gently, reminding him he's still inexperienced. Plans could fail despite careful schemes. Misuzu trembled, struggling to grasp if Fumio truly betrayed Masaki so harshly behind closed doors. Fumio confirmed her fears, pushing her anger higher with shameless confessions about Masaki's lost innocence. Misuzu's eyes burned with rage, mind racing for ways to resist Fumio's relentless manipulation game. Fumio offered Misuzu a cruel choice: submit or flee. Her defiance surged back instantly. Fumio declares Masaki will remain enslaved. Misuzu watches frozen, realizing the trap is closing. Fumio admits loneliness drives him. Misuzu, shocked, begins to understand the twisted motive behind everything. He manipulates her emotions, threatening to keep Masaki unless Misuzu sacrifices her freedom willingly for him. Misuzu grows furious. Fumio unveils the confinement room, asserting she must stay for Masaki's release. Fumio offers escape and forgetfulness, but Misuzu must erase them from her life completely. Torn and desperate, Misuzu proposes to stay if Masaki will truly be set free. Fumio raises the stakes. Staying isn't enough, Misuzu must surrender body and soul to him. Then, Fumio presents a fertility pill. His demands grow more invasive, pushing her into compliance. Now he insists she bear his child immediately, sealing the deal through total submission. Broken, Misuzu prepares to accept, her will fading. Fumio relishes her silence as consent begins. Misuzu tearfully pleads for Masaki's freedom, offering herself in exchange, unaware of Fumio's hidden scheme. Fumio tricks Misuzu using fake pills, making her believe she's trapped by a false pregnancy. He theorizes emotional surrender occurs when hope is gone. Masaki's reaction becomes his final test. To Misuzu, Fumio becomes everything, her first love, and the imagined father of her child. He manipulates her insecurity, claiming he saved her, replacing Masaki's importance in her heart. Watching Misuzu betray Masaki is Fumio's weapon, designed to destroy Masaki's spirit completely. Fumio reappears, pretending to comfort Misuzu again, solidifying their emotional chains through a cycle of control. Masaki awakens, disoriented, realizing something is deeply wrong. She remembered that she fell asleep but then begins searching for Fumio. She finds Misuzu clinging to Fumio, shocked and betrayed, as confusion and hurt flood her face. Masaki awakens disoriented. Misuzu, calm but uneasy, promises to bring her safely back home. Fumio presses Misuzu to swear allegiance. With lowered gaze, she hesitates under his manipulative control. Tears form as Misuzu, conflicted and subdued, whispers devotion, submitting entirely to Fumio's twisted will. As proof, Misuzu silently swallows a pill. Masaki watches in horror, realizing Misuzu's shocking intent. Masaki panics. She reveals her pregnancy by Fumio, begging Misuzu not to replace her. Misuzu lowers herself before Fumio, obeying his command. She suppresses her discomfort without resistance. Masaki trembles with anger, accusing Misuzu of stealing everything precious. Her long-held emotions reach breaking point. Overwhelmed with rage, Masaki snaps. Her mind explodes with hatred, and a dangerous impulse forms. Masaki lunges, violently shoving them apart. Shock floods the room as chaos suddenly takes control. Misuzu and Fumio fall. Masaki stands trembling, her shadow cast forward, her next move unknown. Masaki moves with eerie calm, unzipping Fumio's pants. Her expression hides a determined, unreadable motive. Without warning, she strikes him. Shocked and caught off guard, Fumio collapses under Masaki's sudden act. Fumio is stunned. Misuzu watches, stunned too, as Masaki seizes control in the most unexpected way. Masaki stumbles back, dazed. Misuzu cautiously approaches, sensing something isn't right behind Masaki's blank stare. Misuzu warns her gently. Fumio is manipulating her, trying to trap her like before. Masaki lashed out fiercely, accusing Misuzu of betrayal, determined to reclaim the attention Fumio once gave her. Startled, Misuzu turned and spotted Fumio approaching, unsure why he was suddenly present and silent. Masaki seized the moment, clinging to Fumio, insisting her affection surpassed anything Misuzu ever offered. Driven by desperation, Masaki pushed boundaries further, physically asserting dominance to keep Fumio emotionally bound. Misuzu, overwhelmed and silenced by the scene, watched Masaki deepen her manipulation through forceful comparison. Masaki tried proving loyalty, pushing past shame. Fumio watched, uncertain if her change was sincere. Suddenly, Lily emerged laughing. Her chaotic interference disrupted Fumio's plan to mentally break Masaki completely. Lily mocked Fumio's method. She believed Masaki wouldn't submit, her resistance stronger than they had expected. Fumio lay conflicted, watching Masaki persist. Lily declared the plan failed. Masaki wouldn't collapse so easily. Masaki smirked defiantly. Fumio questioned Lily's intent. She insisted experience mattered more than controlled outcomes. Masaki lost control, overwhelmed by emotions. Lily pointed out it wasn't entirely a failure. Masaki reached her breaking point, emotionally collapsing. Her state showed signs of full mental submission. Her status changed. Fumio stared in disbelief. Masaki had truly crossed into the slave state. Fumio reviewed system updates. Despite setbacks, control mechanisms activated. He saw a new opportunity ahead. Masaki lay still. Misuzu knelt, shaken. Fumio regained confidence. His influence over both had just begun. Misuzu resisted, desperate to believe Masaki's transformation wasn't real. Fumio remained silent, unreadable. Masaki smiled faintly. Lily taunted Misuzu. Her mind spiraled, unable to grasp what had changed. Lily's touch triggered a reaction. Misuzu gasped, her body responding beyond her conscious control. Fumio praised Lily. Misuzu's body lay still, but her eyes revealed fear and confusion. Fumio planned the next step, erase memory and speech. Misuzu wouldn't expose anything outside. Misuzu lay unconscious as Lily orchestrated her quiet removal, delegating final steps to her agents. Fumio, confused, questioned Lily's recent choices, unaware of the broader strategy quietly taking form. Others affirmed Lily's move, claiming Misuzu's return to normalcy was necessary for future control. Lily, confident and composed, hinted ominously that Misuzu's fate was already sealed and inevitable. 30 days later, Misuzu returned, visibly shaken, silent, and under supervision, her memory seemingly fractured. A week passed since Fumio released Misuzu. School life resumed with a strange normalcy. Fujiwara clung tightly since the hotel incident. Misuzu remained under daily surveillance and questioning, though avoiding Fujiwara. Fumio spent nights intimately involved with Ryoko and Masaki, deepening secret relationships. Outside school, a new girl approached Fumio with a polite smile, introduced herself as Fukuda Rin. Rin confessed her feelings. Fumio rejected her firmly, uninterested and already entangled in darker affairs. Rin was stunned by his refusal, her smile trembling as confusion slowly surfaced. Trying to laugh it off, she repeated herself, unable to believe she'd been rejected. Fumio calmly clarified again, he already had someone. Rin froze, embarrassed and visibly shaken. Rin ran off dramatically, shouting a vow of revenge, leaving Fumio completely bewildered. Alone again, Fumio reflected power changed him. Still, Rin's smile lingered in his mind. At school, Fujiwara smiled brightly. Meanwhile, Masaki and Ryoko waited for Fumio after hours. Despite distractions, Fumio's mind fixated on controlling Misuzu again. Her obedience remained his primary obsession. He realized dark thoughts consumed him. This manipulation. Was it his own power or Lily's? Scratching his head, Fumio felt manipulated. Somehow everything kept aligning with Lily's mysterious intentions. Furious, Rin ranted about her rejection. Masako calmly urged her to stop and move on. Rin defends her actions, but Masako confronts her manipulative charm as boys crowd around. Admiration turns into obsession. Rin's influence over the boys intensifies, leading to reckless consequences. Rin reveals her desire to be adored endlessly, ignoring the harm her behavior causes. She admits to using a harmless boy as a decoy to avoid deeper emotional ties. Masako delivers the final words, exposing Rin's shallow tactics and leaving her humiliated and alone. Masako and Rin uncover rumors about Fujiwara's appearance and Teruya's supposed past behavior. Rin hears provocative gossip and sees a chance to weaponize it for personal gain. Fujiwara hears Misuzu is returning to school. Whispers about her begin spreading once more. Masako recognizes Teruya's arrival. Her reaction stirs tension. Something unresolved still lingers between them. Fumio observes silently, wary of Teruya's manipulations and the threat she poses to others. Fujiwara notices Fumio's troubled expression, but he brushes it off with a forced smile. Misuzu returns to class after her absence, greeted warmly by classmates with visible surprise. Fujiwara observes how popular Misuzu remains, reflecting on how she stayed connected during her absence. Misuzu's trauma surfaces. She struggles to communicate, memories suppressed by confusion and psychological pressure. Fumio recalls her suffering, knowing the fragmented memories will silently torment Misuzu for some time. Misuzu confronts Masaki, sensing something off. She recalls past humiliation, hidden beneath Mai's blank stare. Misuzu worries for Masaki's safety, questioning if she's coerced. The girl deflects, feigning ignorance and irritation. Fujiwara proudly clings to Fumio, boasting flirtations. Fumio's discomfort grows, despite refusing her bold invitations. In class, Fujiwara taunts Fumio loudly. Misuzu watches, realizing how deeply entangled their dynamics have become. Alone at last, Fumio sighs in relief, escaping the tension, if only for a moment. Fumio freezes as Rin suddenly appears, her posture bold, her tone playful yet deliberately provocative. Feigning surprise, Rin approaches Fumio again. He recognizes her immediately and suspects she's planned this encounter. Rin's sweet smile masks intent. She flirts, but Fumio senses insincerity beneath her forced charm. Fumio reminds her of his earlier rejection. Rin brushes it off, pushing forward with fake cheer. Cornering him, Rin shifts tone. She implies dark rumors about Masaki, testing Fumio's trust and loyalty. Fumio ends the conversation coldly. Misuzu laughs awkwardly, masking her unease behind exaggerated cheerfulness. Suddenly Rin burst out, warns Fumio, accusing Misuzu of deception. Her words grow cruel and unfiltered. Fumio's expression hardens. He scolds her harshly, rejecting judgment formed from rumors and emotional bias. He grabs her, silencing further talk. Fear replaces her defiance as he issues a warning. With fury in his eyes, Fumio threatens her. Rin realizes she's provoked something truly dangerous. Fumio walks away coldly. She kneels in silence, stunned by the weight of his threat. Left alone, Rin explodes in anger. Her pride burns, twisted by humiliation and wounded ego. Her rage grows. Determined not to be a victim, she vows to retaliate with force. Meanwhile, Fumio walks off. His expression darkens, the weight of guilt slowly creeping in. He reflects on his harsh reaction. Maybe it wasn't justice. Maybe it was about Fujiwara. Fumio felt conflicted. Fujiwara's kiss, born from shared pain, sparked unexpected emotions he couldn't ignore. Despite sympathy, Fumio's obsession deepened. Fujiwara depended on him now, helpless and bound to his control. Clues emerged. Teruya from the track team had revealed something dangerous about the past. Fumio panicked. He couldn't recall who was there. The risk of exposure grew heavier fast. Driven by paranoia, Fumio considered his next move: silence the threat before it reaches her. Fumio overheard a mocking voice. Something felt off. Someone was watching but stayed unseen. Misuzu appeared suddenly, her presence commanding. Fumio recognized her voice, sparking immediate concern and memory. A classmate questioned Misuzu's companion. Curiosity rose. Who was the unknown girl, and what did she know? Misuzu erupted defensively at the accusation. Her reaction was loud, unsettled, drawing more suspicion than denial. Despite Misuzu's denial, the rumor persisted. A sharp underclassman remained convinced Fumio was behind everything. Misuzu stormed off, refusing explanations. Fumio watched silently, sensing her growing suspicion and distance. Panicked thoughts raced through Fumio's mind. She had somehow traced the secret back to him. Another girl began connecting the dots. Her instincts pointed towards someone in the track club. Fumio hesitated. Acting now might confirm her doubts, sealing his guilt beyond recovery or excuse. He stared at the club building. His plan to deflect blame was falling apart fast. From above, Fumio watched the girls gather. His fear now pushed him toward desperation. Teruya left the office frustrated. Repeated questioning made her feel like a suspect herself. A junior rushed to Teruya, breathless, bearing news that threatened everything. Panic was clearly rising. She ran through the halls in shock. The entire team had suddenly vanished without explanation. Only 2 remained. The rest were unreachable. The track club's disappearance struck without a trace. One girl awakened alone in a dim, unfamiliar room, confused and weak from disorientation. 2 upperclassmen also restrained as well, recognizable faces showing silent worry more than visible pain. Realizing their shared condition, panic grew. Her question echoed off cold walls, unanswered and tense. Lily confronted Fumio, furious. His risky behavior nearly exposed everything they'd been secretly orchestrating. Fumio smirked, revealing he'd confined the entire track team using deceptive methods and preparation. Earlier, Fumio had constructed a near-perfect replica of the original girls' clubroom facility. He enhanced every detail, ensuring the fake space mimicked reality, trapping anyone who stepped inside. To avoid suspicion and panic, Fumio divided them into 4 identical, isolated rooms by design. Fumio realized he miscounted members, assigning Teruya a special role as his scapegoat. As the girls arrived, Fumio discreetly tracked entries, noticing a growing inconsistency in numbers. Despite miscalculations, Fumio celebrated 18 in total. Lily, however, reacted with growing concern and disbelief. Lily confronted him, angry. She questioned his ability to manage such a large group responsibly. Inside the chambered room, girls sat silently. Fumio muttered, imagining it like a controlled facility. Lily explained that even demons couldn't easily manage humans, only goblins were raised in captivity. After thinking hard, Lily reluctantly agreed, declaring a single strict path forward for their operation. Lily unleashed a focused magical spell, channeling it with purpose and determination to proceed. Faces of the club members emerged from magical light, each girl's image burning into view. Lily instructed Fumio to select 4 individuals based on preference, giving him full discretion. Fumio learns confinement was to protect Fujiwara's secret and silence curious club members. He asked Lily about the plan as 4 girls are selected for deeper involvement and control. Lily explains the structure. A leader controls others through loyal intermediaries, like a kingdom system. Fumio sees how manipulation traps people, forcing surrender through pressure, hierarchy, and calculated dependency. Uncertain but pressured, Fumio is told to neutralize resistance, even if the targets are classmates. Lily suggests using fear, inflicting one painful moment, to control others through the threat of repetition. Fumio is told to stay hidden, ensuring mystery and distance while others carry out actions. The 4 girls Fumio selects will carry his influence. Someone else will guide the process. Lily names Misaki as leader. Despite concerns, her calm strength and control prove more capable. Accepting the plan, Fumio begins selecting targets. His role shifts from actor to quiet strategist. Fumio believes his role ends after action, but Lily reminds him he's still essential, secretly. With Fumio vanishing from view, Lily stresses his careful appearance. Media and police will react strongly. To avoid suspicion, blame may shift to the Teruya sisters while secret alliances stay hidden. Fumio reflects on his image, but Lily's stare signals she has more to question. Lily bluntly asks if Fumio's extreme actions were really for the sake of one girl. Fumio uncovers that 4 girls secretly targeted Fujiwara. Trust shatters as suspicions quietly grow. Tension rises. Lily demands answers. Fumio denies sympathy, claiming control, not compassion, fuels his actions. Despite her boldness, Fumio never restrains the tanned girl. Others sense favoritism behind his restraint. Confronted by Lily, Fumio admits confusion. His actions contradict logic, even to himself. Fumio confesses affection for all three girls, unable to choose, torn by equal emotional weight. Lily suggests Fumio's intense emotions shifted from resentment to affection, confusing loyalty with lingering attachment. He theorizes Fujiwara's trauma isolates her. Others treated her as an object, never as human. Unlike them, Fumio resisted, and in that defiance Fujiwara saw something unfamiliar, genuine restraint. He fears if he crosses that line, he'll lose her trust and her unique bond. Turning toward Lily, Fumio begins to explain, but hesitation suggests the weight of truth remains. Lily teases Fumio for maturing, playfully hinting at changes in his attitude and confidence. She assigns him a disturbing new task: oversee a harsh training, mimicking a prior scenario. With dramatic flair, Lily insists Fumio choose a commanding title for his new leadership role. She envisions him as a feared ruler, orchestrating control over all the selected girls. Reflecting deeply, Fumio considers a name that reflects his inner conflict, a king who confines. Fumio declares his chosen alias with chilling resolve. The title of Confinement King is born. The next morning he walks to school with a cheerful Fujiwara, who calls him Fumin. She teases him while bringing up rumors about a kidnapped childhood friend, piquing Fumio's concern. When questioned, Fujiwara admits she's been visiting his home daily, gaining favor with his mother. Fujiwara proudly announcing she's been cooking with his mom, charming her effortlessly. Detectives discuss the overwhelming media presence and how Central's involvement complicates the investigation further. Superintendent Nakamura, a serious-looking man, is revealed to be Detective Ryoko's fiancé, adding unexpected tension. The team confronts Nakamura with a suspicious theory about a cult's involvement. He immediately dismisses it. Detective Nakamura firmly rejects their accusations, earning quiet admiration for his composure and unshakable logic. Back in secret, Ryoko apologizes tearfully to her master Fumio, revealing hidden dynamics. Detective reacts to news of 18 girls confined, beer and snacks on the table nearby. Superintendent Nakamura commands to lower voices, reminding that the meeting is inside a school building. Police report a female student's information, linking directly to the culprit, heightening the tension. Suddenly, a figure appeared, hinting at a secretive or playful personality. Close-up of Fukuda Rin's daring smile, teasing her importance and a hidden meaning behind it. Rin Fukuda arrives confidently, drawing sharp attention. Her past ties and motives remain unsettlingly unclear. Ryoko recalls rumors heard about Rin from Fumio, reckless, dangerous, and possibly manipulating again. Rin claims Masako, a missing girl, is her friend. Ryoko suspects deeper motives behind the concern. Rin hides a grudge. She wants justice or revenge, masked as worry for Masako's fate. Rin recounts last seeing Masako. Behind the clubroom, Ryoko glimpses someone suspicious lurking in the shadows. Ryoko watches Fumio closely as Rin identifies him. Her calm certainty raises more suspicion than clarity. Ryoko's intense glare startles Rin. Tension spikes. Hidden resentment and rivalry between them begin to surface. Pressed on her claim, Rin insists she knows Fumio well, perhaps too well from past interest. Detective Nakamura thanks Rin. Her composed testimony feels helpful, but something unsettling lingers behind his smile. Rin agrees to write a statement, yet beneath her nervous act, a sly smirk quietly returns. Rin clenches her fist triumphantly. Her betrayal complete, she believes she's finally destroyed Fumio's life. Rin prepares to vanish, planting false evidence online and planning to flee before anyone suspects her. Detective Nakamura, still unconvinced, turns to Ryoko. The case isn't adding up like it should. Ryoko's eyes narrow. Something about Rin's testimony doesn't sit right. She's digging deeper into the records. While Fumio confesses under duress, the detectives question his capacity. Could someone so timid be guilty? Detective Ryoko follows a hunch. Every thread matters now. Even the weakest lead might unravel everything. As testimonies get reanalyzed, timelines are questioned. Something doesn't align, especially about the locked door. New theory: the victims left willingly. The investigators now suspect complicity or manipulation, not brute force. Ryoko internally mocks the flawed logic, knowing the lock theory only serves to protect the mastermind. But the case pivots again. Ryoko's confidence breaks as Nakamura's suspicion is redirected. Right back to poor Fumio. Nakamura's eyes narrow as Fumio enters, the boy now caught in the investigation's tightening web. Fumio stammers, overwhelmed. Nakamura's composed smile barely hides the weight of the suspicion pressing down. Nakamura corners him calmly. Someone saw him, behind the clubroom, near where it all began. Fumio panics, denying everything. But Nakamura's tone sharpens. The truth won't be dodged much longer. Still unconvinced, Nakamura pushes. If he's innocent, why was he even back there at all? Fumio's lips tremble, then curl. The panic fades, replaced by a familiar smirk. A performance begins. Thanks to Ryoko's prep, Fumio masks fear with charm. Every move now goes as rehearsed. Feigning embarrassment, Fumio stalls for sympathy. A lie crafted to sound just weak enough. He crafts his alibi, class skipped, secret passage used, and a nap to seal the timeline. Fumio describes the secret passage through the fence, a hidden trail, easy to slip away. The detective considers Fumio's story. He seems to buy it, for now, but he's not careless. Thanks, Lily, Fumio's setup is solid. Even the footprints fit. Nakamura's plan included planting evidence and crafting a trail no one could easily dispute. But now comes the catch. The detective spots the first real flaw in Fumio's tale. This detective, he's sharp. Fumio realizes the single lie Nakamura coached him on is now exposed. Fumio feigned casualness, masking tension. Nakamura studied him closely, sensing something didn't quite fit. A moment of silence hung heavy. Fumio waited, wondering how Nakamura would react next. Nakamura smirked, deflecting suspicion. He redirected the officers, pretending to cooperate while still testing Fumio's limits. Though not fully convinced, Nakamura left. Fumio knew he'd disrupted their progress, but not erased their doubt. As Ryoko turned, Nakamura followed, asking to visit her. His tone shifted, masking unclear intentions. Nakamura requested to stay longer, using the investigation as an excuse to push boundaries. Ryoko firmly refused, revealing the girl's safety was compromised and she'd taken her in. Nakamura smiled, masking frustration. Ryoko pitied his weakness, unable to enter the very apartment he funded. Ryoko escorted Misuzu to a secluded building, ensuring complete discretion and distance from outside threats. Inside, Ryoko apologized. Despite feeling useless, she remained determined to shield Misuzu from outside harm. Ryoko froze as she found the door unlocked, a warning sign something was off. A lively girl tumbled out carelessly, startling Misuzu with her revealing and reckless entrance. Misuzu questioned the stranger. Ryoko, flustered, was clearly used to this girl's inappropriate behavior. Ryoko nervously claimed the girl was her sister, buying time while hiding deeper connections. Lily and Ryoko discussed Misuzu's absence, revealing their master's distress and unclear plans for her. Ryoko proposed offering someone to ease the master's sorrow, her own younger sister, without hesitation. Lily accepted the fate calmly, believing loyalty and purpose defined her place beside the master. The sister was summoned while unconscious. She stirred uneasily, unaware of what was expected of her. She awoke confused, locking eyes with Misuzu, who seemed just as startled by her presence. Introductions were chaotic. Misuzu marveled at her delicate features, unaware of her true reason for coming. Kyuko introduced herself cheerfully, masking her past while preparing to lay low for a while. Suddenly, Ryoko left for work, asking Kyoko to treat Misuzu kindly during her stay. Curious, Kyuko pried into Misuzu's personal life, reacting with dramatic flair to news of her boyfriend. Relaxed, Kyuko shared her failed experiences, hoping to meet the one man her sister trusted. Meanwhile, Fumio in question sneezed in the bath, unaware someone awaited his introduction soon. Masaki joins Fumio in the bath, subtly flustered, hinting at feelings while beginning their conversation. She jokes about Fumio's title, playfully twisting words, while recalling his strange but determined ambitions. Clinging close, Masaki confirms her loyalty, fully committed to supporting Fumio's controversial mission and ideals. Fumio asks seriously if she'll help, and Masaki reaffirms her dedication to him without hesitation. She reflects on past deception, wounded but understanding, choosing to believe it was done lovingly. Steam filled the dark chamber, a sharp sound echoed. The captor spoke with unsettling delight. The ceiling loomed high, shadows lingered. A body hung suspended, still and vulnerable in silence. Two girls remained bound in silence, dazed. One questioned the time, the other barely responded. A bowl sat nearly empty. One girl trembled, her effort to drink ended in spillage. Their strength faded. Jokes had stopped. Days blurred. Desperation grew. The captor's return felt inevitable now. Their strength faded quickly. Just hours ago they'd still clung to some sense of normalcy. A portal sparked violently. From it the masked woman emerged, silent, inhuman, and without warning. The girls froze, breathless, as her boots echoed across the floor, imposing, deliberate, and unwelcome. She poured water into the bowl, then vanished again, leaving only silence and faint ripples. Forced to crawl and drink, they felt degraded, tension rising as survival replaced their shame. Bound and wary, the girls assessed the newcomer, unsure if she meant harm or worse. A strange sound echoed. The ground shifted. Fear rose as a hidden mechanism slowly activated. Before them, heavy doors appeared ominously, sealed tight with an aura that stilled their breath. The door hadn't been there before. Unease grew. Was it an exit or another trap? One girl rushed ahead instinctively. The door creaked open, pulling them toward whatever waited beyond. The walls opened silently. Two unfamiliar figures stepped forward, one masked, the other coldly composed. Recognizing the woman from before, the girls froze, unsure whether her presence meant danger or rescue. Energy crackled as a strange orb formed. Tension grew. Something or someone was clearly about to arrive. A regal figure emerged gracefully from the light, her posture calm, but intentions unreadable. With bow, the figure greeted them all, her voice hiding power beneath composed words. The captives froze, hearts pounding, as an imposing mistress announced herself calmly. Haneda Masaki, crowned and commanding, revealed her identity, signaling the ominous start of control. She woke in silence, ropes binding tightly, eyes wide as a girl trembled beside her. Masaki stepped forward, confident and amused. The prisoner questioned everything about this strange authority. Familiarity struck as another captive recognized her. Shock mixed with confusion, trust began to falter quickly. She confronted the woman dressed as royalty, struggling to understand her role in their captivity. Old memories returned, faces, warmth and fear. Her disappearance had left questions no one could answer. Shima looked up, confused. The masked figure approached, dropping something ominous near her restrained form. Suddenly, electric force struck her body. Muscles tensed. Pain surged through the ropes constraining him. Shima gasped uncontrollably, overwhelmed by shock. Her body trembled as consciousness began to slip away. The girls panicked. Shima collapsed, twitching. Masaki's agent watched silently, masked and fully in control. Frisia stepped forward coldly, offended by disrespect. She awaited permission to punish without hesitation. Frisia stood down as ordered. Masaki claimed control, deciding life or death with chilling confidence. A sudden light engulfed the room. Masaki's voice echoed, challenging their awareness of her control. Tensions erupted. Toshiro confronted Masaki, demanding truth. Shock spread as names and roles were exposed. Dread settled in. The captives feared their fates, questioning Masaki's cruel and calculated motives. Masaki offered no answers, her expression unreadable. The girls waited, anxious for whatever came next. Masaki smiled with control. Frisia stepped forward to explain the accusation none had expected. Frisia revealed their offense, humiliation of Fujiwara Mai, Masaki's mistress. Shima struggled, still weak and shaken. Fear rose. Whispers spread. Could one of them truly be hiding such a secret? Masaki offered a chance, confess within 10 seconds, or all would suffer the consequences together. Toshiro demanded clarity. Masaki promised mercy. Those who confessed would face judgment, others would walk free. Masaki revealed her plan. Lifelong torment through repeated cruelty, masked behind a smile of elegance. The return meant destruction, bodies reduced to survival, boxed and shipped like discarded property. Masaki began counting. Panic erupted. Kayama shouted, demanding a confession before it was too late. Kayama broke down, denying friendship. Her fear spilled out, desperate to escape what awaited. As Masaki reached 8, the captives stared at each other, silent, accusing, holding back betrayal. As Masaki reached 10, one girl panicked. Desperate, she confessed before silence claimed her. Toshiro Ui stepped forward, claiming full guilt. Her voice trembled, but her stance stayed firm. Masaki smiled, amused by the bravery. She requested a name. Toshiro answered without hesitation or fear. Frisia coldly dismissed the gesture. Masaki grinned wider, declaring everyone's chance at freedom was lost. Toshiro's sacrifice was rejected. Masaki explained. She already knew the culprits, and Ui didn't match. Masaki, intrigued by Ui's boldness, granted a second chance, this time laced with twisted amusement. She summoned chosen girls forward, beginning a new phase of judgment, calling names with purpose. Kayama was the first selected, her name called out. Fear widened her eyes instantly. Takasago Kei followed. Quiet and resigned, she answered as her name was demanded. Their reputations surfaced, Kayama flustered, Takasago aloof. Known at school, now exposed in a cruel stage. Saori was next. Nervous and surprised, she gave her name under pressure and trembling breath. Masaki approved. With a grin, she confirmed Saori's name and quietly added her to the list. Masaki appointed Toshiro, Saori, Kayama, and Takasago as interrogators to uncover the truth behind Mai's humiliation. Her tool was simple, a whip. Interrogation would be their method, cruelty their assignment. The others trembled. Until culprits confessed, someone among them would suffer daily under the whip. Masaki demanded ruthless force. Each chosen girl was to strike at least 100 times. Failure meant demotion. Masaki warned they'd become victims themselves if they showed hesitation or pity. Toshiro objected. She couldn't harm her own. Masaki mocked her fear and promised full authority. Luxury tempted them, promised better meals and rooms. Fear and survival began challenging their moral stance. Toshiro stood firm. Her voice rose. She refused cruelty, choosing suffering over betrayal of others. Masaki pointed to Shima. Nervous and hesitant, she gave her name under pressure. Shima Natsumi. Toshiro glared. Shima flinched. The weight of expectations fell silently between their tense eye contact. Suddenly, Shima stepped forward, voice cracking with fear. But she volunteered to take on the task. Masaki praised them mockingly. Feeding time for others commenced, to prevent even mercy through death. Saori felt hatred. Punishment loomed. Masaki smiled, promising pain as correction for disobedience through peers. Masaki gave an order. Lily was to disable the girls with magic before transport. Escorted in silence, the group marched through stone corridors, Masaki leading with confident satisfaction. Masaki left Frisia in charge. The girls, confused, entered what looked like a lavish suite. Frisia promised temporary relief, removing restraints. The girls stood, amazed by the unexpected freedom offered, but the bindings dissolved suddenly, leaving them completely exposed. Their confusion turned to dread once more. The girls awoke in a prepared room, bodies sore, handed clothes by a silent maid. Frisia informed them of uniforms. The girls opened the wardrobe and were startled by its contents. Dressed in revealing police outfits, they hesitated while one confidently assumed the role without shame. Despite unease, they followed Frisia through stone corridors, offered no chance to question their situation. Frisia introduced a luxurious pool area, casually permitting use, deepening the confusion surrounding their confinement. While mocking their captor, the girl is ambushed, restrained swiftly by Frisia with precision. With a blade at her throat, Frisia warns her not to disrespect the hierarchy again. Fear settles in. The others realize escape is impossible, and loyalty is demanded without hesitation. Frisia calmly reminds them of the rules. One wrong turn and consequences will return. The doors open. A lavish meal awaits, comforting, yet unnervingly out of place in captivity. Starving and exhausted, the girls are overwhelmed by warm food, kindness wrapped in hidden control. Frisia presents dessert calmly. Her precision and care unsettle them more than threats ever could. The confinement king's rules are absolute. Loyalty brings safety. Disobedience guarantees swift and silent punishment. Frisia outlines their duty, labor over livestock, justified as a method to uncover traitors among them. Hope flickers. If they comply, a friend might be saved, but trust remains dangerously thin. While others embrace their roles, one girl senses unease, kindness twisted into manipulation and madness. Lily praises a convincing performance, peeling back the illusion behind their roles in this act. Backstage critique reveals strategy, presentation, and light aren't random, but calculated tools of psychological dominance. The setup forces submission, gaze diverted, expressions unreadable, breaking confidence with silent, blinding precision. Tension rises. Lily discusses those who resist. Some wear masks. Others, like Toshiro, refuse. Toshiro, the ponytail girl, builds an acquired persona based on auto-suggestions, pushing herself to protect others. Lily explains the power of a persona. Its loss triggers a strike, signaling weakness exposed. Fumio is greeted unexpectedly by Fujiwara, who cheerfully wonders about his current actions and feelings. Despite his discomfort, Fumio tolerates Fujiwara's clinginess, showing a complicated dynamic between them. Fujiwara cheerfully announces her upcoming interrogation, reluctantly saying goodbye but leaving an unsettling impression. She walked confidently through the hallway, unaware her past had quietly returned to confront her. Startled by the familiar voice, Fujiwara froze, recognizing someone she'd tried so hard to forget. The woman spoke coldly, reviving a dark history, one built on power, control, and buried shame. Staring in disbelief, Fujiwara whispered the name, Anna, her mind spiraling into fear and unwanted memories. Fujiwara lay motionless as Fumio called out, his voice trembling, sensing something was deeply wrong. Her eyes opened slowly. She struggled to speak, recognizing Fumio's face beside her hospital bed. Still dazed, she asked where she was. Fumio explained she'd collapsed from sudden hyperventilation. A flashback overwhelmed her. An unsettling encounter in the hallway had triggered the physical and mental shock. Shaken by memories, she clutched her chest. Fumio noticed, concerned. She quietly asked to talk alone. Fujiwara hesitated but nodded quietly. She wasn't ready to explain, only desperate for comfort now. Still shaken, Fujiwara asked Fumio to go somewhere private, her tone quiet but emotionally heavy. Tears welled in her eyes. She begged not to be left alone again tonight. Meanwhile, at the Terajima mansion, Misuzu arrived unexpectedly, greeted warmly by her cheerful friend Kyuko. Relaxing together, Misuzu texted someone secretly. Kyuko teased her, suspecting she was messaging a boyfriend. Kyuko teases about the media presence. Misuzu tries to stay composed, but tension builds inside. Kyuko suggests Misuzu sneak out. Misuzu startled, unsure, but the opportunity tempts her deeply. Determined now, Misuzu calls out to Kasuya, while Kyuko already has a plan in mind. Wearing a disguise, Misuzu nervously approaches Kasuya. Kyuko insists it's foolproof. Misuzu isn't convinced. Embarrassed, Misuzu glares at her outfit. Hamuar is bold, ridiculous, and clearly Kyuko's strange fashion choice. Misuzu, masked and anxious, agreed to follow Kasuya anywhere, her quiet devotion hidden behind layers. Kasuya, noticing her eagerness, confidently suggested a hotel. The city lights masked his uncertain grin. Alone in the room, Misuzu showered, calming her nerves before reuniting with her longtime crush. As they drew closer, Misuzu cherished the closeness, feeling time had paused for this reunion. In that fleeting moment, Misuzu embraced her desire. Then suddenly, something unexpected disrupted her thoughts. Afterward, Misuzu stayed silent, covering herself. While Kasuya proudly recalled her past performance without concern, she quietly reflected, realizing his movements felt mechanical, lacking warmth or genuine connection between them. Internally, Misuzu was startled. His presence left no impression. Doubts about compatibility began flooding her mind. She compared this moment to her memories, feeling let down just as she regained closeness. Back in disguise, Misuzu answered nervously, unsure how to explain skills she herself couldn't recall learning. Misuzu recalled Kyoko's advice about physical chemistry, realizing her connection with Kasuya lacked that vital spark. Suddenly, Misuzu froze mid-step. Her eyes widened. Something, or someone, had caught her completely off guard. Kasuya turned and noticed a familiar face. "Oh, that's Fujiwara?" he muttered, slightly confused. Misuzu stared, baffled. Why Fujiwara? And next to him of all people, was that really Fumio? Her eyes widened in disbelief. She remembered Fujiwara once mentioning, Fumio was apparently well endowed beyond expectation. Misuzu muttered impulsively, startled when Fumio turned and recognized her despite the mask and glasses. Fumio realized Kasuya had just been with Misuzu. Jealousy stirred beneath his otherwise calm exterior. Sliding open the door, Fumio clenched his resolve. I'll steal her back, no matter what. Caught off guard, Fumio watched Fujiwara undress. She masked her unease behind a soft excuse. Something wasn't right. Fumio sensed Fujiwara was deeply shaken. What happened between her and Misuzu? Fujiwara dropped her towel, her body trembling slightly. Fumio froze, unsure how to respond. She stood vulnerable, eyes pleading. Pleaded to called Mai, the name rare used. Fumio's breath caught. He saw more than her body. He saw pain she couldn't hide. She wanted to do it with him, as she whispered, voice cracking. She revealed that she met Anna. Fumio's mind raced. Anna, the one who abused Fujiwara for years, tied to the Yakuza. Anna stood before her like a ghost from the past, charming on the surface, venom underneath. Even now, Anna had a way of cutting through people with words alone. Fujiwara couldn't hide her fear. Breath ragged, hands trembling, Fujiwara realized there was no escaping Anna's grip, not even now. With a cold smile, Anna walked away. The damage was done, again. Fumio listened in silence, his fists clenched. She matters to me, he thought, and I'll protect her. Fumio gently embraced Fujiwara, sensing her fear. He offered calm assurance, asking her to trust. Fujiwara pleaded, desperation clear. Fumio stood firm, unwilling to give in under emotional pressure or pain. Overwhelmed by shame, Fujiwara broke down. She assumed her past made her unworthy of real affection. Fumio consoled her kindly. He reminded her that healing wouldn't come from rushed or forced intimacy. Tears filled her eyes as Fumio promised, without conditions, he'd stay, no matter what she had endured. Without warning, Fumio kissed her, not out of desire, but to reach her shaken heart. He pulled back, determined. Fumio refused to be like those who had treated her cruelly. Fumio reminded her, they were a couple, Together they would reclaim what trauma had once taken. He spoke of rebuilding gently, through small moments, laughter, and shared days, not forced or rushed affection. Looking directly into her eyes, Fumio vowed to stay. No matter what, he wouldn't leave. As tears fell, she smiled, finally safe, finally seen, finally able to feel warmth again. Lying side by side, they held hands. Despite everything, they had reached a new beginning. She expressed worry about dangers ahead. Calmly, Fumio promised protection, no matter who or what came. She laughed at his awkwardness but remembered, every time, Fumio was the one who came. With hands clasped tight, he vowed again, he'd always be there whenever she needed him. Anna feigned charm over dinner, but Teruya stayed wary. This wasn't just a friendly chat. Teruya carefully distanced herself, denying involvement. Anna, all smiles, steered conversation toward deeper, darker matters. With cold confidence, Anna dismissed threats. Power like hers didn't fear justice, it twisted it. While Teruya questioned loyalties, Anna hinted at secrets. Even the mafia wouldn't cross her path. Dismissive of amateurs, Teruya tried to connect dots. Anna, she'd already moved 3 steps ahead. Anna smirks. Teruya talks tournaments, she talks threats. Anna doesn't play fair only to win. Anna cloaks cruelty in sisterly affection. Teruya listens, but seeds of unease start to grow. Anna's interest turns personal, fixated on Fujiwara and her boyfriend. Teruya senses danger behind that smile. Anna belittles Fujiwara's past with venomous disgust. Morality means nothing to her, only control does. To Anna, relationships are weapons. Teruya reflects on past threats. Anna doesn't tolerate anything she can't own. Teruya reluctantly confesses her crush, while Anna mocks her under the guise of faux support. Teruya expresses twisted jealousy. Even her crush feels tainted by obsession and dark resentment toward Misuzu. Anna casually fantasizes about kidnapping girls, viewing them as disposable, her cruelty now fully unmasked. She plots abduction like logistics, deliberating between trafficking routes and which criminal syndicate to hire. Anna's corruption runs deep. She plans to bribe law enforcement, tying every loose end with money. A tense close-up of narrowed eyes signals suspicion, fear, or realization someone's wary of what's coming. Anna revels in the chaos she's causing, her twisted joy overwhelming. She's fully unhinged and dangerous. Moribe waits uneasily, summoned to the interrogation room. Her posture stiffens, heart filled with dread. She approaches Shima, hesitant. Their new assignment, administering punishment, troubles her more than she admits aloud. They've been ordered to whip others. The quota is strict, but target choices remain personal. Moribe wonders who deserves punishment. Shima notices her unease, joking to mask her own discomfort. Shima stretches lazily, brushing off the concern. Still, she offers to think things through together. Moribe reveals she knows the key reason behind their punishment, Fujiwara Mai's ongoing humiliation. Fujiwara is a third-year Gyaru, connected to many suspects. Her reputation makes her a target. Shima questions if all third-year seniors should be considered suspicious. Moribe's logic feels harsh. They doubt a certain strong senior's ability to execute humiliation skillfully, but she remains the last option. Shima asks if younger students might be responsible. Shima readies herself to write down plans. The interrogators were selected. Moribe and Shima reviewed suspects, crossing off upperclassmen one by one. Shima eliminated third years first. Their distance from current incidents made them unlikely to be responsible. Moribe questioned Shima's logic. Confirming Moribe herself remained the only third year they could trust. They turned attention to first years, whose inexperience and behavior left gaps too risky to overlook. Shima grew frustrated. Too many unknowns remained among first years, making conclusions feel impossible to reach. Shima volunteered to interrogate second years. She proposed harsher tactics, aware tension would soon escalate. Moribe reminded her it was nearly dinner, but unease lingered behind her quiet expression. Frisia warned them to behave properly. A higher authority, Masaki, would be joining tonight's meal. Moribe shifted the topic, but Frisia firmly reminded them, bodies are a burden to clean. The absent Kayama raised suspicion. Frisia dismissed concern as a corridor door echoed ominously below. Masaki entered in full regalia, radiating confidence. The others quickly straightened up at her presence. Her jewels sparkled under the lights, proudly flaunted, a reward from Confinement King-sama himself, apparently. Moribe observed warily. The woman's arrogance suggested intimacy with power. Everyone else seemed cautious, or jealous. Kayama probed with curiosity. Was the necklace truly 26 carat, or merely gaudy excess and ego? Despite past wealth, Masaki now lived modestly, yet her influence and mysterious benefactor loomed large. Masaki spoke grandly, promising them favor if, of course, they performed their duties without fail. Moribe nervously asked for intel on their assignment. Masaki's reaction wasn't hostile, but wasn't welcoming. With a sly smile, Masaki claimed ignorance. Her tone made it clear, don't press her. The mood shifted instantly. What seemed polite now felt dangerous. Even Frisia looked too wary to speak. Masaki offered encouragement with unsettling poise. But her final question hinted at execution, not mercy. Frisia voiced concern about morale. Even a successful mission might leave everyone feeling emotionally drained. Masaki smiled elegantly, before agreed. But her tone shifted as revealed she won't kill them. But then Masaki added coldly, she will raise the difficulty for them. She declared didn't want to hear anything. Break the rule and you'll switch places instantly. Shima realized the trap too late. Even harmless replies meant demotion. No mercy, no exceptions. Kayama's furious glare silenced the room. Tension spiked as the door creaked open slowly. Masaki cheerfully introduced the lavish meal. Frisia watched, masked with forced politeness. After eating, the captives were ordered to feed pigs. Threats hinted at tomorrow's punishment. Disgusted, they examined the sticky mixture, oatmeal and milk, rationed twice daily without question. Masaki explained its value coldly. Behind the door, impatient animals banged, awaiting their grim meal. The door creaked open, revealing captives restrained and startled, their fear instantly filling the air. Moribe and others returned with food. Murmurs rose at their strange uniforms and silent expressions. She, visibly shaken, tried to smile. Tension grew as peers whispered about unequal treatment received. A warning gesture halted Moribe's words. Answering questions now risked punishment neither dared to imagine aloud. The restrained girl, Tashiro, demanded answers, confused by the silence of her friends behind the bars. A bowl splashed before them. Confused and bound, they stared silently, unsure if it's edible. The warden barked orders harshly. Their survival depended on obedience, no matter how humiliating it felt. Tied hands trembled. Disbelief spread. This was dinner? How could they eat in this condition? Tashiro met Shima's eyes. Silently, they agreed. Someone had to act, no matter what. With determination, Tashiro lunged toward the bowl, slamming down, her pride swallowed for survival. Suddenly, a friend called her. Doubting Tashiro's act despite freedom, overwhelmed and confused, Tashiro struggles to process the situation as pressure and heat build intensely around her. The president addresses the group, inviting participation, her tone oddly cheerful despite the unsettling atmosphere surrounding them. Other girls appear similarly bound, some fearful, others silent, as the president's intentions slowly become more apparent. Without hesitation, the group moves in closer, following unspoken instructions, their roles in this act now clear. Moribe watches silently as the others eat. Their behavior unsettles her more than expected. Elsewhere, Terajima Ryoko's upscale condominium stands untouched, hiding truths behind its modern, polished exterior walls. On the couch, Misuzu watches news reports of disappearances, her blank stare hiding quiet understanding. A new morning dawns. Misuzu sits withdrawn, lost in thought, while Kyoko cheerfully greets her. Misuzu's gaze sharpens slightly. Kyoko falters mid-sentence, sensing an unfamiliar weight behind the quiet response. Kyoko gently asks Misuzu if anything is troubling her, showing concern and closeness. Misuzu's unexpected question about growth catches Kyoko off guard, surprising them both. Kyoko reacts with a nervous smile, unsure how to respond to the strange question. Kyoko teasingly comments on Misuzu's boyfriend's shortcomings, making Misuzu blush and feel awkward. Misuzu imagines wild ideas to fix the problem, but Kyoko quickly dismisses them as scary. Misuzu struggled to hold back tears, conflicted about ending things with someone she still loved. Kyoko, quietly processing, crossed her arms and considered Misuzu's pain with growing internal frustration and resolve. Suddenly, Kyoko proposed a bold solution, distinguishing emotions from desires, to help Misuzu rethink her relationship. She explained her theory: emotional loyalty stays intact if physical needs are satisfied elsewhere. Discreetly. Leaning in, Kyoko offered herself, claiming curiosity and care, challenging Misuzu's boundaries with unexpected openness and confidence. Misuzu, overwhelmed by Kyoko's closeness, stammered as tension rose and her emotions clashed internally. Kyoko leaned in, voice firm, offering a provocative solution, one based on trust, not romance. Frozen in shock, Misuzu stared wide-eyed, processing Kyoko's bold request with fear, confusion, and curiosity. Ryoko stood frozen, eyes wide, as she arrived at the apartment and sensed something wrong. Inside, confusion spread. Kyoko's sly tone clashed with Ryoko's concern over Misuzu's sudden disappearance. Overwhelmed by guilt and worry, Ryoko collapsed, questioning her part in what just occurred. Kyoko reassured her awkwardly, revealing Misuzu left with a close friend, not her boyfriend. As Ryoko stared, unsettled, Kyoko's gaze lingered, watching her shift from panic into quiet uncertainty. Ryoko confronted Kyoko, anger boiling, demanding answers about what truly happened with Kurosawa. Kyoko awkwardly confessed, her joke misunderstood, her smirk masking how serious it had become. Ryoko trembled with disbelief, shaken by Kyoko's careless actions and their irreversible emotional consequences. Tears barely held back, Ryoko took control, grabbing Kyoko, her voice cold but firm with purpose. She dragged Kyoko into the bedroom, intending to make her confront what she'd caused firsthand. Ryoko leads Kyoko through heavy, ancient doors, Kyoko stunned by their sudden movement and sheer weight. As the doors creak open, Kyoko gapes. Inside lies a space impossibly vast and hidden. Blinding light floods the corridor. Inside, Misuzu sits quietly beneath a canopy bed, barely acknowledging them. Fumio, cloaked in shadow, turns calmly curious about Ryoko's unplanned visit and her unexpected guest. Ryoko confesses everything. Her sister Kyoko's misdeed has dishonored Misuzu, and she seeks redemption. Ryoko kneels, head bowed in shame, blaming herself for Misuzu's suffering. Despite being present, Fumio, overwhelmed, struggles to understand. Ryoko implicates herself in Misuzu's meeting with her supposed boyfriend. Kyoko blurts out the truth. Everything stemmed from her own reckless actions, shocking Fumio completely. Fumio suspects deeper manipulation, disgusted by those abusing power, but acknowledges Ryoko's painful humility. Kyoko takes responsibility, confronting Fumio directly, insisting her sister Ryoko bears none of the blame. Fumio lowers his head, accepting consequences. Kyoko watches silently. The mood grows heavy with unease. Kyoko agrees to confront him. Her confidence masks uncertainty. Fumio's words twist the moment further. Fumio taunts him cruelly. Kyoko's anger boils over. The room thickens with conflict and fear. Kyoko asserts dominance, catching him off guard. Her actions are bold, challenging his control completely. She mocks his composure, maintaining power. Fumio realizes control is slipping from his grasp fast. Kyoko bursts in confidently, unaware Fumio is watching. Tension builds in the eerie, confined room. Her expression reveals confusion, overwhelmed by sensations. Fumio observes silently, calculating her unpredictable reactions carefully. Ryoko intervenes, clinical and cold. Fumio responds, hiding anxiety behind forced calm and control. Kyoko begins to break down. Control slips, emotions rise. Her resistance fades with every moment inside. Fumio leans closer, smirking. His words sting deeper than actions. Control has fully shifted his way. Fumio compares the sisters, Ryoko and Kyoko. Despite differences, he senses similar vulnerabilities in both. Kyoko hesitates, but Fumio acts decisively. His experience from Ryoko leaves her unprepared and overwhelmed. Kyoko falters, trying to apologize. Fumio sees her submission as opportunity to tighten psychological control. Manipulation deepens. Fumio coaxes childlike submission from Kyoko, masking cruelty behind false praise and smiles. Despite resistance, the room fills with sound. Regret arrives too late. Control has fully shifted. Fumio reviewed the result calmly, noting Ryoko's resistance remained beneath the threshold of control. He realized Kyoko's surrender was an act, her will stronger than her silence had suggested. Facing her defiance, Fumio contacted Lily, requesting a full dose of the enhancement formula. With determination, Fumio consumed the liquid, committing to push past the barrier held firm. Meanwhile, at a distant residence, Misuzu lay awake, unrested, haunted by what had transpired. Misuzu stayed at Fujiwara's home, trying to relax, yet unable to silence her restless thoughts. She recalled escaping a tense situation, relying on Fujiwara's unexpected arrival to protect her. In the large guest room, they talked freely, the space easing tension between them slightly. Fujiwara's sudden question about Fumio made Misuzu pause, surprised her private moments had been seen. Misuzu clarified nervously, Fumio had stopped short of intimacy, despite their closeness, leaving her confused and flustered. Misuzu listens nervously as Fujiwara recounts their encounter, her words dreamy, tone filled with admiration. Pressed for details, Misuzu hesitates. Her flushed face and avoidance hint at a moment she can't explain. Plans are complicated. Misuzu's home is swarmed by reporters. Fujiwara boldly proposes they escape together instead. Caught off guard, Misuzu misreads Fujiwara's suggestion, surprised by her casual tone and unexpected invitation. By morning, an ominous force gathers overhead, signaling that something darker is about to unfold. Lily quietly approaches, sensing the aftermath. Her calm contrasts with the lingering tension and chaotic energy. Suddenly, an unexpected reunion unfolds, surprising both as emotions mix with unresolved confusion and vulnerability. Ryoko steps forward, prepared to explain the strange events. Lily was surprised by her presence. Ryoko reveals how the master's intense influence triggered uncontrollable behavior and shifting targets within their group. Lily notes the consequences. One has become fully dependent, while another gained dangerous new abilities to manage. A tense atmosphere builds as someone warns that the master's focus is now fixed sharply on Lily, an ominous shift in the balance. Lily tries to react, but the master's attention comes crashing down on her with overwhelming force, catching her off guard. Fumio attempts to intervene, calling out to Lily for a moment's pause, but the master remains unreachable, trapped in his intense state. Lily's panic grows as she's caught completely off guard, her defenses slipping away as the master's power intensifies around her. Fumio quickly moves to stop the overwhelming tide, desperate to prevent any further harm, the moment teetering on the edge of chaos. Fumio screamed in pain as a sudden slash tore through his eyelids without warning. Frisia, calm and cold, explained her actions, blinding him to protect Lily from his gaze. Ignoring his suffering, Frisia exposed herself further, declaring healing could wait for more immediate control. Frisia, undeterred, advanced boldly, her commanding figure overwhelmed Fumio, forcing him into a defensive stance. Lily trembled, stunned by Frisia's power. She fought Berserker Fumio on equal footing effortlessly. Frisia's history was feared. Men perished from pleasure alone. Her power once ended entire empires. Though nearly overwhelmed, she acknowledged Fumio's strength. His resilience intrigued her more than she expected. Lily ordered Frisia to heal Fumio. Once stable, he would be returned and monitored. Hyuko, unconscious and restrained, was dragged to confinement. Many pieces now moved beneath command. Lily sighed, escorting Fumio to rest. Outside, a new arrival appeared, unaware of the chaos. Misuzu and Fujiwara appear suddenly, catching Fumio off guard with their unexpected and intimidating presence. Fujiwara greets Fumio energetically, while Misuzu critically scans his room, sensing something awkward about today. Fumio, lying on his bed, is alarmed. Their sudden entry overwhelms him, intensifying the atmosphere. Misuzu observes Fumio's room, manga and textbooks everywhere, while Fujiwara teases about how peacefully Fumio sleeps. Misuzu hesitates as Fujiwara boldly approaches, hinting their visit has a mischievous or daring hidden purpose. Misuzu, feeling a strange familiarity, clutches her head, grappling with a sudden memory surge. Confused and emotional, Misuzu questions her memories while Fujiwara glances at her, concerned yet curious. Misuzu gasps, realizing a significant discrepancy that heightens her anxiety and adds tension to everything. Fumio awakens in confusion, finding Fujiwara beside him and questioning her unexpected presence in his room. Misuzu urges Fumio to wake Fujiwara, growing impatient with his careless attitude amidst the tension. Fumio awkwardly questions Fujiwara's casual attire while Misuzu looks on, sensing rising tension and complications. Silence hangs in the air as Fumio contemplates their relationship, feeling the weight of awkwardness. Misuzu clarifies her intentions, expressing unease with the perceived lack of care for Fujiwara. Fumio, startled by Misuzu's seriousness, wonders what motivated this sudden shift in their dynamic. Fumio apologizes to Lily, sensing a brewing conflict as unease fills the air between them. Lily's mood shifts as she ponders Fumio's actions, her feelings causing uncertainty and tension. She questions the events, alert to how other characters reacted, surprised by their interactions. Fumio reflects on the situation, seeking clarity from Lily about the unexpected developments unfolding. Lily sets boundaries, asserting control over Fumio and urging him to respect their dynamic. Misuzu expresses concern over Lily's emotional state, reflecting on recent events involving Fumio and others. Lily changes the topic, hinting at intrigue regarding the track and field club's dynamics. Lily discovers an unexpected item, triggering curiosity and apprehension about potential challenges ahead. The girls discuss the implications of the item, feeling anxious about their duties and consequences. As tension rises, a humorous interruption occurs, shifting the focus and lightening the mood. Frisia apologizes for her earlier indulgence, causing the team to consider the upcoming tasks ahead. The team discusses their next steps, pondering how to deal with the culprits efficiently. Plans are laid out for interrogation, emphasizing urgency as they prepare for potential conflicts. The group is briefed on the investigation procedures, heightening tension about their forthcoming responsibilities. Confrontation looms as an eager character questions plans, teasing impending complications in their operations. Frisia responds to a question, hinting at the confinement king's demands, stirring unease among participants. Instructions are given about diligence in decisions, creating an atmosphere of pressure within the group. Concerns arise over misuse of items, emphasizing the severity of their choices and responsibilities. A system is revealed where injuries will heal at midnight, sparking skepticism among the group. A proposal is made to offer choices to the culprits, introducing moral dilemmas into the situation. Kayama expresses concern about handling the situation, emphasizing a need for careful decision-making going forward. Doubt lingers regarding the culprits' willingness to cooperate, igniting discussions about their possible actions. Tensions rise as plans outline potential consequences for others, highlighting concerns for group dynamics. A warning is issued about the precariousness of their positions, prompting heightened vigilance and anxiety. Speculations arise on possible betrayals, fueling fears of traps and complications from within their ranks. Moribe feels overwhelmed by the stakes of their situation, fearing potential exposure of secrets. Shima emphasizes their shared fate, highlighting the pressure they all face amid rising tensions. Moribe worries about the consequences of being demoted, fearing increased hostility from others around them. Plans to support one another solidify, with characters recognizing the importance of teamwork for survival. Frisia checks on everyone's readiness, her seriousness foreshadowing imminent challenges and escalating pressures ahead. Figures in uniforms approach the restrained individuals, their footsteps echoing through the quiet, tense room. The girl's wide eyes follow the sounds around her, her anxiety growing with each passing moment. Kayama with a cryptic smile watches, her words hinting at something dark yet unclear. Suddenly, a loud noise breaks the silence, the restrained girl's body tensing as fear grows. Struggling against Kayama's restraints, the girl gasps, her pleas desperate as she faces mounting distress. Tension escalates as the girl struggles against her restraints, receiving sharp smacks and harsh reprimands from Kayama. Amemiya, bound and distressed, overhears the conversation about the tense relationship between Kayama and Mrs. Bowles. Kayama grins wickedly, savoring the control as the situation intensifies, pushing past all emotional limits. The girl grits her teeth in discomfort, trying to endure the situation as Kayama's actions escalate. Desperate, the girl pleads for Kayama to stop, but her resistance only fuels the chaotic tension. The girl winces as harsh slaps rain down, her body straining against the unyielding ropes. Shima's concerned voice urges Kayama to stop, but the tension remains thick in the room. Kayama and Shima argue, debating authority and power while the situation grows more heated around them. A tense silence follows as one officer warns the other about the consequences of further quarrels. With a smirk, Kayama remarks on the quick progress, while hinting at more actions ahead. Kayama relentlessly delivers slaps, mocking her captive as the girl watches, helpless, urging her to stop. Kayama smiles wickedly as she plans her next move, while the girl shivers, feeling uneasy. Moribe expresses concern, but Kayama brushes it off, suggesting an increase in punishment to prove control. Moribe speaks out, warning against the growing anger from their actions, fearing further consequences from others. As Kayama enjoys her power, Moribe grows increasingly uncomfortable with the harsh treatment. Anxiety creeping in, Moribe methodically rotates through her targets, each one enduring a painful punishment as she follows orders. Moribe, frustrated by the inefficiency, heads off to her next task, lamenting the uncooperative nature. Shima, determined to maintain control, threatens to discipline anyone who questions her approach, trying to clarify. Despite their conflict, the girl protests, claiming that she doesn't fully agree with the harsh methods. Kayama harshly explains her strategy, believing that force will make the individuals willingly submit to her demands. Kayama asserts that if the girls locate the culprits, she'll stop whipping them, but not before. Shima prepares to start with the easiest target, unsure of the escalating tension in the room. Moribe worries about the consequences, as she quietly observes Shima's silent refusal to comply. Moribe stays silent, despite the question, knowing that speaking up could lead to severe consequences. Shima questions the girl about her knowledge of a recent humiliation. To test her resolve, the girl reveals she knows Satu and his family's wealth, but Kayama presses further about his identity. The captive denies involvement with Satu, though her strained demeanor makes it hard to believe. Shima orders the group to move quickly, demanding they line up as punishment continues unabated. Shima demands honesty, threatening further punishment as the captives face their uncertain fates in silence. She, frustrated, lashes out, interpreting the silence as defiance, and punishes the girl severely. Shima warns Toshiro to stop speaking out, asking her to stay quiet while observing. Moribe grimaces at the chaotic scene, remarking on the other's status as second-year students. Moribe demands Shiratori understands the consequences, her tone sharp as she asserts her control over them. Shima leaves, annoyed by Shiratori's attitude, and tells her to deal with the remaining tasks. Moribe expresses surprise as she realizes her superior has left, leaving her to clean up. Moribe, alone, notices ominous figures approaching her, questioning her solitary position in the dark. Moribe fears her situation, gripping the whip tightly, and anxiously looks around for support. Moribe considers submitting, thinking it might be easier to give in to the oppressive atmosphere. Suddenly, Frisia appears, offering comfort, guiding Moribe out of her isolation and fear. Frisia promises to stand by her side, offering strength as she faces the challenges ahead. Moribe cries out in fear, overwhelmed by the overwhelming presence of dark figures surrounding her. Moribe is shaken, hearing strange sounds and voices, unsure of whether she's safe. Moribe considers her options, regretting her actions and wondering if a demotion would ease her fear. Moribe, still in distress, turns to Frisia for reassurance, feeling desperate and uncertain about her fate. Frisia reassures Moribe, offering calm words, but Moribe still trembles in fear and anxiety. Moribe gasps, overwhelmed by the intensity of her emotions, struggling to breathe through the chaos. Moribe is shaken by a deep, unsettling sensation, unsure of the disturbing pride filling her chest. A wave of intense pleasure pulses through her body, electrifying her nerves and leaving her confused. Moribe realizes the truth, her body trembling, as tears well up from the overwhelming sensation. She recognizes the deep emotional conflict, understanding the feelings surfacing inside her that bring tears. Moribe sits in isolation, consumed by self-loathing, trapped in a mental battle with herself. In the office, Ryoko approached Superintendent Nakamura, aiming to discuss critical case details urgently. Ryoko glances sideways, feeling pressure as she questions her role and future choices. Despite the ominous atmosphere, she resolves to endure the circumstances and fulfill her responsibilities. An emotional conversation unfolds, revealing past connections and the complexities of their familiar ties. A pivotal discovery arrives. One of the missing girls has been identified, igniting urgency. As discussions unfold, the connection to serious industries raises concerns about the ongoing missing cases. The sudden realization dawns. A link is found between debts and the missing individuals. Investigators uncover the advisor's troubled life, revealing debts and associations that complicate the case further. Attention turns to his daughter, whose choices have led to dangerous entanglements involving the host club. The investigation deepens. A sisterly relationship emerges, linking the Yakuza gang's influence to the case. Investigators uncover a scheme where the advisor led club members into a dangerous trap. Ryoko highlights the advisor's complicated past, with criminal charges that darken the ongoing investigation. Tension rises as connections solidify. Previous offenses link the advisor's family to organized crime. The details reveal the advisor's daughter is entangled in a criminal web of deceit. The shocking realization strikes. The kidnapping plan's rejection reveals deeper layers of corruption and betrayal. Tensions escalate as accusations fly. Allies argue about evidence needed to ensure justice prevails. In the office, Ryoko faces tension. She senses the looming consequences of their investigation. Conflicted emotions arise as Ryoko questions her own motivations and the nature of her role. At school, Fumio's thoughts drift to the bizarre activities involving characters from her past. As exhaustion sets in, the weight of decisions looms heavily, affecting everyone involved dearly. As plans unfold, past tactics are reconsidered. The complexities of manipulation linger in his thoughts. Morning arrives, bringing unexpected dynamics. Fujiwara came with Misuzu, greeted Fumio cheerfully. Confusion arises amongst friends as they navigate their interactions, revealing hidden feelings and unexpected connections. Tensions ease momentarily as lighthearted banter unfolds. Bonds strengthen amidst the swirl of emotions. Amidst playful teasing, deeper connections surface. Friends recognize the underlying romantic tensions hidden within their interactions. Misuzu's morning takes a twist. Casual banter stirs emotions as she navigates school dynamics. Amid friendly exchanges, a deeper tension rises as feelings about relationships and actions grow complicated. Misuzu reflects on her choices, recalling troubling insights from a modeling colleague about relationships. Conversations spark insecurities. Misuzu grapples with her self-image against those around her with contrasts. Conflicted emotions surface as Misuzu realizes her struggles with self-worth while comparing herself to others. Misuzu confesses she's staying at Fujiwara's house, revealing new arrangements that alter her plans. Conversations shift as Kasuya discussing transportation and hinting at deeper connections revealed. Concern rises among the group. Reports of a missing first-year soccer manager stir unease. Misuzu senses urgency. Issues of disappearing students bring tension, affecting her thoughts about Fujiwara. Unanswered questions linger. The connection between the missing manager and Fujiwara becomes increasingly troubling. Text messages reveal unsettling events. A student shares recent police involvement regarding disappearances in school. Misuzu reads alarming chats. Fears arise as friends discuss a third-year student's strange behavior. Rising suspicions lead to concerns about the connection between the missing members and Fumio. A plan formulates among friends. They contemplate confronting Kojima while trying to unravel mysteries. Misuzu's unease grows. She realizes the deeper implications of the messages and their source. Tensions rise as rumors spread about the manager's charm. Students express their anger and frustration. Kasuya's concern grew. They fear their companion might face danger due to his association. Conversations shift to apprehensions about confronting Kojima. Protective instincts surface among the group. Friends intervene, warning against rash actions. Local police presence adds another layer of concern. Misuzu emphasizes Fujiwara's secrecy, cautioning that revealing plans could endanger their friend's safety. Misuzu worries about potential actions from Fujiwara. Recognizing how protective she can be in crises, Fumio expresses disbelief over accusations against him. Suspicion hangs heavy as the conversation unfolds. Misuzu reflects on the past. Troubling incidents and connections emerge, raising more questions. Anxiety mounts as Misuzu struggles with self-doubt, uncertain if her instincts are leading her correctly. Determined, Misuzu thinks of strategies. She must navigate this challenge without alarming Fujiwara unnecessarily. The school day ends abruptly. Friends tease Fumio, engaging him in playful punishment discussions. Amid humorous banter, Misuzu insists on a light-hearted punishment game of rock, paper, scissors. After several rounds of friendly competition, Misuzu stubbornly claims victory, demanding a hilarious consequence. Fumio protests her demands, however. Misuzu remains adamant, reinforcing the playful nature of the challenge. As Misuzu walks away smirking, relief washes over Fumio. Camaraderie strengthens despite the chaos. Fumio contemplates Misuzu's earlier request. He questions her intentions as he leaves school. He mentally dismisses using the back gate, wary of potential suspicion amid ongoing investigations. Fumio decides to return home via his usual route, seeking comfort and familiarity. Suddenly, he encounters masked figures. Tension escalates as he realizes he's not alone. The quiet neighborhood amplifies his anxiety. Shadows loom as he senses danger lurking ahead. Fumio suddenly hears a noise behind him, triggering his instincts as anxiety sets in. Before he can react, a figure strikes him hard. Confusion and shock overwhelm his senses. Fumio suddenly faces a powerful strike, the air filled with tension. He stumbles backward, shocked. In pain, Fumio grits his teeth, blood trickling down his face, revealing his deepening despair. He confronts his aggressor, demanding, "You bastard, where's Rin-chan?" Desperation fuels his anger. Surprised by the sudden violence and confusion, Fumio's thoughts spiral, questioning what just occurred. Amidst the chaos, he realizes he's injured, fear creeping in as he wonders about his fate. Fumio, shaken by the brutal encounter, narrowly avoids another dangerous strike, heart racing in fear. His attacker stumbles back, shocked by Fumio's resilience, confusion mingling with their aggressive demeanor. Amidst the chaos, Fumio's focus shifts to finding the missing object that eludes him. In a moment of clarity, he recalls the park where he found Masaki and Kasuya. Spotting the building in the distance, relief floods him, hope reignites as he moves forward. Fumio gets cornered, feeling the pressure as attackers taunt him, their confidence growing with each moment. Realizing the urgency, he spots a chance to escape, rushing toward the nearby building. His pursuers search for him, scanning every corner, determined but baffled by his disappearance. Hiding in a restroom, Fumio activates a makeshift device, a periscope, hoping to gain an advantage. Recalling past experiences, Fumio focuses, knowing this skill gives him the upper hand to strategize. Fumio reflects on his escape from the group, noting their disappearance as he regains his bearings. Lily, feeling the sting of an unexpected injury, reacts violently while questioning what has just happened. Lily, noticing Fumio's condition, anxiously urges him to call off further aggressive actions. Her concern evident, Fumio's injuries begin healing due to Lily's abilities, though he mentions nearly being in danger without them. Lily reacts with alarm when Fumio's injuries vanish, realizing something might have gone terribly wrong with his condition. Fumio tries to explain his situation to Lily while being teased about his appearance, tension rising. Lily reacts angrily, planning to confront those who attacked Fumio, determined to get answers. However, a warning is given about further investigations. Instead, a plan to mark the attackers is discussed. Fumio, while listening, learns about a succubus's unique method of marking individuals, something only she can detect. Fumio realizes the situation's gravity, worried about Rin's possible involvement in the recent events, feeling responsible. Fumio, still confused, reflects on the situation. He is uncertain about the events unfolding around him. Meanwhile, Rin cheerfully arrives in Okinawa, excited about her trip, and eager to relax. Rin orders a ride to the Fuw Paradise Hotel, hoping for some peace amidst chaos. As she relaxes, she imagines the confrontation unfolding back home, aware of the danger lurking. Back at the base, the officers wonder about the whereabouts of the missing members. Sensing something amiss, Moribe, flustered, denies having a boyfriend, unsure how to answer the playful question from her peer. Kayama suggests making small talk to alleviate the tense atmosphere. Moribe is hesitant but considers it. Moribe opens up about a childhood crush, revealing her long-held, unspoken feelings for a past acquaintance. She recalls the kindness of her first love, a boy from her neighborhood who later attended the same school. Kayama, impressed, suggests they escape their current situation. Moribe, still emotional, continues reflecting on her past. Moribe, reflecting on her past, reveals she had been engaged to a man chosen by her parents. She confesses her true interest lies in someone who saved her from a difficult life. Suddenly, Frisia announces the time for something important has come, drawing attention from all. As Frisia prepares to take charge, the others express curiosity about her sudden presence and actions. A dramatic, tense moment unfolds as a door is forcefully opened, revealing a confrontation ahead. In a dimly lit room, tension rises as Shima stands over the restrained figures, observing. Tashiro, bound tightly, lies on the floor, her injuries visible as fear grips her heart. Shima rushes to Tashiro, concern evident, questioning her well-being while noticing her wounds. The deeper mystery unfolds as Shima learns about the disturbingly neglected injuries. Tashiro reassures. Fueled by anger, Shima confronts the others, declaring vengeance against those responsible for the chaos. Shima's determination intensifies as she demands answers, seeking the truth behind the cruel acts. In a tense grip, Shima wrestles with conflicting emotions, contemplating the best course of action. Kayama interjects, urging Shima to stabilize the situation, emphasizing the need for careful planning. Plans form as they discuss upcoming actions, hinting at rigorous interrogation and challenges ahead. With resolve, the officers agree to collaborate, knowing they must navigate complex feelings and intentions. The group discusses the harsh treatment, revealing that it's a consequence of past decisions and loyalty. Moribe's anger spikes as she realizes the unfairness of the situation, feeling compelled to intervene. As tensions escalate, Kayama prepares for decisive action, reflecting on the gravity of their choices. Kayama strategizes, aiming to rectify the situation while navigating their conflicting emotions and worries. Kayama's resolve strengthens, determined to confront the source of aggression and restore justice among them. The rope pressed against her skin, Kayama towered over her, demanding silent obedience through humiliation. She hesitated, eyes trembling. Shame and fear clashed in silence, as pressure mounted unbearably within. Head lowered, she leaned forward, not out of desire but survival. Submission dulled the looming threat. Kayama reveled in control. The girl complied through clenched tears, bearing each motion like silent duty. Desperation overcame her. To protect others, she lied, offering herself as scapegoat, trembling beneath Kayama's cruel gaze. Panicked, the girl shifted blame. Kayama observed with delight as fear fractured their fragile alliance further. Kayama silenced them sharply, while Moribe remained silent. Discipline escalated, order demanded chaos in return. Now punished, the scapegoats seethed. Their anger no longer targeted Yui but toward Amamiya, their betrayer. Desperation took root. They sought alliances even with enforcers, hoping to redirect punishment toward vulnerable second years. Moribe stood still. She saw it. The phase where unity broke under distrust and manipulation. Mocking tones shifted into cautious flattery. Even captives realized Moribe now held sway over fate. Moribe reflected silently. Power corrupted them, but she too feared she'd act the same when tested. Someone called to her. Detached, she barely reacted, still deep in conflicted thought and quiet self-judgment. Shiratori demanded response. Her voice cracked, part plea, part challenge. Moribe's silence spoke louder than commands. Then, clarity struck. Moribe whispered truth. She knew who the missing four really were now. Her voice cut through silence. Calm, unwavering, Shiratori declared the truth Moribe feared she'd reveal.